Hello, Mr. Bowen. You're muted. You need to unmute.
Man, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, finally got everything working at the same time.
That's good. How you doing?
I'm fine. It's the first time this week everything's been working. I've either had sound or I've had picture, but not both.
Uh-huh. Well, good. I'm glad it's working.
Well, I'm back home now, so I got my own computer and everything else, so that makes a difference.
Yes. Where do you teach?
Edward Bell, Career Technical Center, down in Camp Hill, Alabama.
Did y'all have a storm last night?
I got out before it got there. They shut the school down today and tomorrow. So I left school, went straight home, so I missed all that.
Yeah, well, good.
I just hope my apartment down there made it through.
Yeah. So some people did email me about this session to see if we were going to have it. So as far as I know, we're supposed to have it. I haven't got any word to cancel it or postpone it. So we're going to record. It is being recorded. So if anybody misses, maybe they can get the recording.
Well, I'm going to go back and look at the other two, so that other three rather, when I get a minute or two, and see if I missed anything.
Yeah.
I know I was a few minutes late getting to the session yesterday, and but I think I got everything of substance. So I'll go back and check that one.
Good. People, we're slowly getting people. We still got 2 minutes to 12, so I probably will give them a little time after.
I'm going to cut my camera off. I don't want to scare anybody if they come on and see me sitting here.
You're just scare anybody. I want to take a roll.
I'm still here.
I like to seeing people.
Well, sometimes you can't do anything about your looks. You know what I mean? I grew a beard years ago to try and hide as much as I could.
Let's see. I'm going to take a roll here. Let's see. Mr. Bowen, what do you teach?
I teach everything from basic electricity to robotics.
Okay.
We've met before when I worked at Sneed State, and I think maybe at Wallace State. We may have crossed paths a time or two.
Well, I'm checking roll on here, and you're on a list. Like I'm the architecture construction cluster, and you're on the list with another cluster. So they must have you in like in STEM or something like that.
It was group 5 yesterday. I see a couple more that were in there with me because that was the one that fit more closely to industrial maintenance. So,
Yeah. Manufacturing. So you were the manufacturing.
right.
Okay. Well, I really expected more. We've got 13 when we need about
From Mrs.
30.
From Mrs. Bruce's group, we're just missing Miss Thornton.
You're only missing one?
Yes.
Mr. Bowen, what link did you use to get on this? Did you get an email from me or did you get it from
I
somebody
got
else?
one this morning.
From
That's
me?
the first time I've seen one. Yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, it was, I think it was Miss Brown's name where the actual link was listed.
Uh-huh.
Because I emailed you about 5 minutes before that asking what link should I use. Because under your name, and so you and Miss Brown, and there was one other one, there was no link there. So I didn't know, what to do. And then your email came in.
Today, the one that came in today?
Right. Yes, sir.
Okay. Well,
If I'm not where I'm supposed to be, that's normal for me.
well, no, I'm wondering if I sent the right link to my teachers.
Are you missing a lot?
Yeah, I mean, there should be 23 of mine. Mr. Mooneyham? Well, Mr. Longshore.
Yes, sir.
Hey, what link did you use to find this meeting? Did you get it today?
Yes, sir. I got it today or got it last night, but it came to my personal email. It didn't come to my school email.
Mr. Upton, I'm a welding teacher in Phoenix City, and I'm using the link from today.
Okay, good. Thank you. I'm just
Yeah,
wondering
this morning I got it. It came when you sent this morning.
Thank you, sir. So there should be more people here, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. It is being recorded, so if they miss the meeting, then they can catch up later. On the agenda, I'm doing the introductions, which basically I'm going to do roll call because it's difficult to to monitor everything on my end. So I got Mr. Andrews is here. Mark Bryant. Is Mark Bryant here? Just say hey if you're here. And then Jacqueline Edwards. Let's see her. Mickey German. Please say here or present if you're here. Gilbert, Elijah Gilbert.
Gilbert is on.
Okay. Sarah Heath. Sarah, I think, is completed. Longshore, Chris Longshore, just talked to you. John Lasuda. Is John Lasuda on here? Tony McCrane. Okay. Michael Miller. All right. Matthew Minton. Chris Mize.
I'm here.
Okay, hey Chris. Glad you're here. Mr. Mooneyham, I see you. I went by there the other day, talked to Mr. Stansel, but I was in a hurry, so I didn't get to drop by your class. Did you get your swag, Mr. Mooneyham? Did you get your Skills USA swag? You're muted. You have to unmute.
Some people don't are responding in the chat that they don't have a mic or camera. So
Oh, okay.
Mooneyham doesn't have a mic.
Okay, I got you. All right. And then James Outlaw. don't see him. Johnny Packer.
Here.
Okay, good, thanks. I'm gonna skip over you, and then Bradley Park or Brantley Park. Robert Pittman.
Brantley Park was here.
Yeah, I got him.
I've written down the names from everybody that's logged in.
Kevin Self. Okay. And then David Skelton.
He's here.
And then Ashley Strauderman.
I think Ashley has already completed.
Yeah, that might be what this is. The rest of these may have already completed.
A lot of these have, yeah.
Now, I don't have cosmetology and manufacturing supposed to be with us, and I don't have your role. Do you have it, Ms. Brown?
I do, and the only person that was missing, like I said, was Miss Thornton. We're only missing one.
Okay, so good. I mean, I like a small group. This is good. We'll have good discussions. Some of you have to use chat if you don't have a mic. So my name is Brian Upton. I'm education specialist at the State Department of Education. I work with the architecture and construction cluster. So my job is to help teachers in those clusters and programs. I'm also the NCCER state sponsor. So if you're teaching NCCER curriculum, which most of my programs are, I'll do your reviews and I'll help you through that process. It's nothing to be worried about. It is work and it's documentation that we have to do, but I'll help you along the way and help you get your job done. I would like everybody just to take a minute and introduce themselves. If you don't have a microphone, you can just put it in the chat. Hey, there's Mr. Meehan. You're upside down. I don't know how you did that. Is that on your phone? There we go. All right. That's my old office, by the way, for this class. So, yeah, just say your name and where you're from. And then Ms. Brown, if you would be the last one, and she's going to be our first presenter today, so she can wrap up the introductions and then start a presentation. So, Mr. Gilbert, you want to go next?
Roger Gilbert. I'm the welding instructor at Troy Pike Center for Technology.
I can't hear you, Mr. Gilbert. Your mic's on. I just can't hear you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll take my audio.
Yeah. He's just going to put it in the thing.
Here, while he's doing that, I'll do it.
Okay.
Mr. Upton.
Sure, go ahead.
My name is Easton Andrews, Phoenix City, Alabama. Here at Central High School, going to be the new welding instructor here. I'm excited to learn and see what I can, gather from the job and the students along the way.
Awesome. Thank you. Mr. Mooneyham, you want to go next? Oh, he just walked out the door. Mr. Bowen.
Yes, sir. I work at Edward Bell Career Technical Center in Countville, Alabama, and I am their industrial maintenance instructor. I teach everything from basic electricity through robotics. So I've got a big, wide path that I can teach on, and I enjoy teaching. That's why I'm doing it.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Longshore.
Hey, I'm Christopher Longshore, and I teach at the Blount County Career Tech Center, building construction and cabinetry.
Mr. Mize.
I'm at Epcot in Jackson County. I'm teaching electrical technologies
Miss
the first year.
Hargett. Thank you.
Hey,
Ms. Hargett.
there's John. Did you get lost?
Sometimes if you're a Smurf, you get a chance to get lost real easy.
Papa Smurf gets lost.
Danielle Hargett, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, sir. My name's Danielle Hargett, and I'm teaching at Franklin County's Career Tech, and I teach cosmetology. It's my second official year.
Great. Welcome on board. Mr. Parker. All right, Mr. Shook,
Yes.
or Logan Shook.
Yes. Oh. Brian.
Okay, Johnny Parker. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm Johnny Packer. I teach masonry at Wilcox Central High School in Camden, Alabama.
Great. Welcome on board.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Shook.
He put his in the chat.
Okay. And then Matthew Mint. I can't see the rest of your name, Mr. Mint. Is it Minton?
Yes, sir. It's Mr. Minton. I teach building construction here at the Calhoun County Career Academy.
Oh, good. Yeah, I was over by your school this last Friday too. All right. Is there anybody I missed? Let's go back to Mr. Mooneyham.
Can anybody hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I didn't know I had a mic on this computer. I know I have a camera now. So, yeah, I'm at the Etowah County Career Tech Center here in Attala. My first year, I'm still in Greenhorn. Learning my ways around the office. I've got files in here from 1980. I'm trying to sort through. But, yeah, I'm here. I'm just glad I can make it so I can see and talk. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to see or hear anything. So we're good to go.
Yes, sir. Glad you're here. All right, Miss Brown, I think that's everybody.
Okay, so there's were a couple questions in there about the rest of the new teachers. So let me share this screen with you. Brian, you'll have to enable me as a host, please.
Okay, how do I do that?
You need to go over to participants.
Okay, and then click on you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Okay, I made you the host.
Okay. So a couple people had questions about the schedule for New Teacher Institute. This is what I have. These are the dates that I have. So we are right here. So it looks like y'all's next step is going to be the OSHA 10 online. And then there are the remaining dates there in case you don't have those. So, all right. So, well, I guess I should probably start by introducing myself. My name is Tessa Brown. I am the newest education specialist in the tech ed crew here at the Career and Technical Education Department. So we're a big family, and so I guess our little nuclear family here in tech ed consists of Lisa Bruce, who couldn't be with us today because she's doing some training, myself, Mr. Upton, and then we have an administrator that we report to here, but that position right now is in transition. So my primary role is to support transportation, distribution, and logistics instructors in our state. Interestingly enough, there are no first year TDL instructors, so I'm here to help Miss Bruce out since she couldn't be here today. So hopefully I can help add to some of that. I will say that we do work as a team. So if you ever have any questions, we tend to have different talents among the three of us. So sometimes maybe one of us isn't as knowledgeable with one thing as the other, but we're here to help. So if there's anything that we can do, please feel free to reach out to any of us. So I did put my my office number in the chat so that if you have any problems during our session today and you need, I've got a couple screens going between my share screen and my gallery screen, and so I won't be able to check my email. So if you, for whatever reason, maybe you don't have a mic and you need to interject something, please feel free to call my office number and I'll make sure that you can join that way, okay? All right, so let me share now. Let's see here. PowerPoint is not normally my style, but I'm usually a pointer and a drawer, but this is going to have to be our best way to give you a visual. So let me go ahead and start this. All right, can you guys see the PowerPoint?
No, ma'am.
No. Fun. Okay. Here we go. Let's try this now.
There we go.
Okay, there we go.
Does that give you the presentation?
Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
that's the presentation view.
All right, all right. Which, by the way, I found in talking to my instructors that sometimes things that may seem simple, maybe to your school district, such as doing a Zoom or using Teams or what have you. Sometimes they may not realize that you need support in that area. So if you need some support in that and how to use it from the instructor perspective, please let us know about that as well. All right, so I'm going to talk to you guys for just a few minutes about membership. One thing I wanted to make you guys aware of is that there is a ton of resources on the Skills USA shop. I'm not sure if this is going to let me click here. There we go. Can you guys see the Skills USA site now? Or do I need to share again?
You have to click on whatever screen you're sharing. You have
Yeah,
to
it's not.
Yeah.
Brantley Park. Let's see. There we go. All right.
We see your PowerPoint.
Yeah, I got to click over to
presenter view, not the screen.
All right. So
there you go.
I wanted you just to know that there are a lot of resources out there, especially in this first year when you're trying to incorporate Skills USA into your program area. Sometimes having some ready-to-go materials and ideas is valuable to you. So there are several little items on here. Some of them are not very expensive. 33 mixers. There's one on here about bell ringers and activities. So if you're not really sure maybe how to engage your students, or maybe it's been a while since you've used Robert's Rules of Order, or maybe you never have, there are a lot of different resources on here for you. We actually have some of these pocket guides. If you would like us to mail one of those out to you, I'd be glad to do that. But I wanted you to know that there are lots of resources out here to help you, to set you off with some activities, and that kind of thing. So those things are there. There's also a lot of free resources that are on the website, the national website as well. So let's go back here. All right, we're back at are we successfully back to the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So there's just a few there, and I tried to kind of, I guess, summarize what they were. But they're one of the ones that I would highly recommend is these leadership handbooks. That's this right here. This goes everything from our history. If you haven't been associated with Skills USA in the past, and you kind of need to make yourself knowledgeable about that, since you're going to be the advisor, since you're going to be the leading voice there, it's a great resource. It goes all the way through, like I said, the history and the background of Skills USA with the mission, the motto, the pledge. It tells you how to set up your chapter. It has professional development. It has our bylaws. It has a lot of great information in there. So I'd highly recommend one of those at least. Mr. Upton, do you know when they get their membership packets as well?
They're available online.
Okay.
I'll go over that. But,
okay.
They're available online.
All right, so let's talk about the good things about making your students members of Skills USA. One of the things that we find, apparently industry is seeing that we in secondary education, that we're trying to teach soft skills, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done on students entering the workforce that have those soft skills or workplace skills that they need, the communication, showing up on time, making sure that you're dressed appropriately and you communicate effectively. They see that we're trying, but it's still something that needs to be perfected. And Skills USA, through our framework, that is one of the things that is embedded in your membership there, becoming members and following the the framework of Skills USA. So that's a good thing about it, is being able to teach your students soft skills. The second thing is networking. You know, Skills USA, and I wish I had looked up what our numbers are. I think we're 5th. Alabama has the 5th highest high school membership. Is that right?
Yes.
Ryan, that's all right. So that's pretty impressive. So if you think about that, Skills USA is an international organization. There's actually an international competition. It's nationwide, and then of course we have our statewide organization. So if you think about it, you're entering your students into a network. And I saw an interesting statistic yesterday that I think it said 47% of job market placements are coming from the hidden job market, and the 47% of that is jobs that are acquired through networking. So it said 10, I think there was 10% was through internal promotion, and I think 47% it said was just through networking. So putting your kids in this network is that's valuable to them, because of course this is not just students. We have professional members, and of course our alumni that are successful in their careers. One of the ways to push your students and to make sure that, you know, how do I make the kids care? How do I make it relevant? How do I get them excited about coming to class? I think some of you may have experience, or maybe you will experience a kid that just doesn't act excited to be there in your class. When you add the competition component that comes along with competing as a Skills USA member, that's going to be one of your easiest ways to get kids on board with what you're trying to teach. Another one that I find interesting is building a resume. I had a conversation with some career coaches yesterday about, you know, trying to teach kids to build a resume, and they try to teach kids to build a resume in 9th grade. Well, at 9th grade, kids don't have a whole lot to put on a resume. But as your students enter your Skills USA chapter, at that point, they're in a program. So that's great for them to cite on their resume. If they're a concentrator, that's even better. They've got CRIs. And then if they can put on there that they were part of a professional organization such as Skills USA, that's also going to be a great way for them to build their resume. If they go a step further and say they were an officer in Skills USA, whether it's the section or your local chapter or even a state or national officer, that's another resume builder. And then also, again, if they can say that I have competed and I have had a certain level of achievement in Skills USA competition, that's another resume builder. So that's a great thing. It's becoming part of something big. Skills USA, wow, it is, wow, it's deep and wide. There's a lot that goes on with it. There's a lot of opportunity that's involved. And the other thing that I love is an opportunity to be a leader. Some of our students are exceptional academically. We also have some students that maybe are not as easily recognized in the traditional setting. And here's their opportunity to shine and be a leader. And that's an opportunity that you're providing by allowing them to be Skills USA members. All right, so the bad is if you are a true first-year teacher, God bless you, because I know it's a challenging year. It's 2020, and I love the memes about 2020 and how it seems to be like a version of Jumanji out there. We're just waiting for the next crazy thing to pop out at us. But it's okay. We're here to help you. You know, one of the if you can always fall back on yeah, well, I was a first-year teacher in 2020 and I made it. So I'm gonna tell you what, if you can make it through this year, I think that's like Green Beret status or special ops or something. So you guys we're gonna make sure you're successful, and you're gonna be able to brag about this for years. We as a state staff and also the National Skills USA, we're using this as an opportunity to improve and increase our ways of engaging students. So look for us to keep trying to come up with new and exciting things, especially to help you facilitate virtual experiences and, you know, travel restrictions and all those things. It is an opportunity to be creative. I think sometimes that's the hardest part is not just, is it possible? Yes, it's possible. The challenge is we just have to be creative. So it's really not, It's not that bad. We'll look at it as a challenge. To me, I think that challenges also often bring out the best of us. So let's look at it as a challenge, and it's going to be one that we're gonna achieve. The ugly part. So nobody likes to hear this part, but you'll see this in your invoice. It says, according to Alabama State Department of Education Administrative Code, each program shall be affiliated with their respective state and national organizations identified by the department. And of course, for you guys, for your programs, that is Skills USA. I don't put that on there to scare you or intimidate you, but in case you wonder, well, why do I do this? I want you to understand that there is that expectation out there, because I know for me, if you set the expectation high, I rise to it. And I certainly don't want you to evaluate me on something I don't know. And so for this part, I know it may sound ugly, but it is just something for you to be aware of, that you are actually fulfilling part of our administrative code. All right, so talk about kind of some of the concrete stuff that you've got to tackle right now. And this, I will be honest with you, I think is confusing even for some people that have been doing skills for a while. There are two separate financial commitments that you need to make as a Skills USA advisor. The first one is that there are membership dues. Okay, so it says these fees are sent to the National Skills USA office in Leesburg, Virginia. So please don't send your membership dues, or don't, when you go to your bookkeeper, do not tell her you are or him that you're sending membership dues to us. Those go to the national office. Then I'll help you find where that invoice comes from. The second part is a $150 program affiliation fee for your program. So these are received here by us, mostly Mr. Upton and I. So these do come to the State Department of Education, and your school should already have received an invoice. I will be sending a follow-up invoice, I believe, at the end of next month. If you haven't seen it and you would like a digital copy, I'd be happy to send that to you if you need it. But those checks are sent to us. So there's an affiliation fee and there's a membership fee. All right. Now there is something called the total participation plan, in case you hear anybody ask about that. This does not cover the program affiliation fees, but you can think of it as almost like paying, I don't know, Mr. Upton, you can correct me if this analogy is not right, but it's almost like paying a group fee for memberships. So instead of having to pay per, so we were going to a, I don't know, if we were going to Disney, instead of paying for each person we brought in, we could pay a group fee and get in, say, our chapter. So total participation plan works out a little bit differently, but please know that even if somebody mentions that, you still have to pay that $150 affiliation fee for your program. All right. So these are some other kind of detailed things that you may not know about. We're going to make sure that you start off right. So you have to have one advisor per program area when you enter your membership, okay? You are going to be putting yourself in as a professional member. So when we enter you in, or when you enter yourself in, make sure you choose that professional member option there. There's a minimum requirement for you to have 12 students. The reason why that's important is because that is going to determine how many students you can send for competition. So, if you just have 3 standout students that you think you want to compete in Skills USA, that does not mean that you can just enter those 3 students for membership and say, no, everybody else, don't worry about it. You have to have at least 12 students entered, their membership entered, in order for you to send anybody to compete. So now, the more members you have, the more you can send. So if you have less than 20, you can send 1 student in any technical contest. Okay, so not 1 student total, but 1 in any technical contest. If you have 20 to 29 members, that goes up. And then, of course, so essentially for every 10 members, you're going to get to send 1 more student to any technical contest. So keep in mind that doesn't mean you can just send 1 It means 1 per contest. Okay. Now,
Ms. Brown,
yes.
on the screen that we see, we're still on the slide where it says get this resource.
Are you really?
Yes.
So every time I scroll, I'm going to have to, all right.
I'm glad you said that. I just
gotta
put
refresh.
that in the
Come on,
chat.
guys.
Do you have a shared folder
I've
somewhere?
been trying to follow on my other
On
screen.
this-
Yeah, well, I don't have it shared, but I'll tell you what, after this presentation, what I'd be happy to do is send you this, because I did put links in there and I wanted you to be able to click on those links later. So
Email it to us.
I certainly will, absolutely.
But yeah, you got to refresh
There
every
we go.
time you get a new screen. It sucks.
All right. Okay. So that's what I was referring to. There's a minimum, and then for every 10, you're going to get it to send another. However, that maxes out at 3 students. So let's say that you have 5 programs, and each of you wants to send a student in job demo. You can't send 5. Okay, so you would have to have a local competition there at your school, choose the top 3 of those 5, and then those 3 would be able to go into job demo. Does that make sense? And you guys, I'm totally okay with you saying me, no, that's not right, or whatever. I'm very open to that. I'm actually a pretty I'm a pretty, what's the word? I'm a pretty laid back person. So you guys feel free to correct me or say, whoa, I didn't understand what you meant by that. All right, are we
I've got 3 sessions of kids.
Yep.
And I've only got like 20 something kids.
Right.
But
among all
minimum
3,
of 12 is, there's not 3 in each session. It's just, I got to have a minimum of 12 throughout the day. Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And
That's total number of students.
Right. And I think that sometimes the only place that's an issue that I've ever seen was, say, an ROTC or something to that effect. And what they would do would be to combine with another instructor. I think the only issue with that is if you try to combine, again, that's going to limit. You only act as one section within membership, if that makes sense. All right. All right, so let's move on. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is once you log in. By the way, I can't tell you how important it is that you become familiar with the Alabama Skills USA, or alskillsusa.org. That's our state website, alskills.org. But then also make sure that you become familiar with skillsusa.org, and that's the national website. The national website is the one that you'll always go to for membership and going into the membership portal. But then if you want to know what's going on in the state, obviously you need to go to the state website. So when you log on you're going to go to skillsusa.org, okay? And at the top, it's going to say, in fact, let me go out of here and show you guys what that looks like.
Is it 2 separate logins for each site, or one will get you into both?
So there's no login for the Alabama site.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because we don't have any, like I said, all the membership portal stuff is done through there. So, all right, let me go. And here's some more good news. Since you're new teachers, you don't remember what the old website looks like. So you don't have to go, well, I don't know where that is anymore with the new website, because it's always going to be your only website. So that's the good news. All right, so I'm going to show you so here I have pulled up skillsusa.org. Okay, so this is what the national website looks like. If you see up here, it says join. Okay, that's where you'll always go to do your membership stuff. Okay, and so then, and I think they've just re-upped this since, actually since the last school year. So, so when I go in here, okay, membership is where you're going to go in and do all of your membership entry. Okay. All right, let me stop sharing that one and go back to our PowerPoint. Sure does seem like we could do better with that. Okay, so when you go to enter, all right, are we all back at the PowerPoint? Gentlemen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so when you go in and you click that membership, you'll be able to find your school. Okay, and then you're going to go in here. One thing I want to point out, no matter where you are, once you get into the membership portal, there's always a watch video button over here. And these watch video things are so helpful. If you don't feel very tech savvy or you're not really sure, you feel like you're missing something, those videos are on every screen and they are great. So if you do not see your program listed over here, you would click that add training program. Okay. Couple things to notice here. If I look on this line here with Mr. Red, I would see that he has no students, no student members, and no professional members. But do you guys see why he has no members?
Just the not yet joined column.
Exactly. The not yet joined button.
13.
Right. So you've got to click that join now in order to finish registering. So if you'll see over here, when we go in to check before competition, Mr. Red is not, would not have currently qualified for competition because he's showing no members and no professional members. And like I said, that criteria is you have to have one professional member, which Mr. Hare has, and at least 12 student members. Okay, so that is important that you remember. Just because it's showing up, just because you've entered your members, you have to click that join now. So to enter your members, you would just click this members here, and it's a very simple little form, you know, first name, last name. One thing that's important that you get absolutely correct is their birthday, because that's how we're going to pull up scores later on. So make sure that you get those things on, you know, their home address and all that. You don't have to have that in there, but the important things, please make sure you've got their name in there correctly and that you've got their birth date in there correctly. And like I said, just don't forget to click join now. All right, so remember there are two financial requirements. You've got to have your national membership dues sent in and your program affiliation. So to get your national membership, once you've entered all your members and they've joined, if you click invoices, when you click this button here, it's going to pop up another window and you can print your invoice to give to your bookkeeper there. Does that sound good? Does anybody have any questions so far? All right. If your program is already in here, but it's not your name here, if you click edit, you should be able to go in and make those changes. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see. I think that's all we need to do on that page. Now, all right. So when you click this invoices tab, then this is going to pop up and you go, where's my invoice? I don't see an invoice. You have to click this button also. Okay, and that's when you're going to get the actual invoice to come up. It's a little confusing. If you'll notice over here, by the way, which I've never had access to a credit card as a teacher, but you know, maybe you're luckier or more trustworthy than I am. But you actually can pay those by credit card, so that's good news there. All right. All right, so again, there's the $150 that is for the affiliation fee. Just make sure you understand that if you don't pay those, even if you've paid your membership fees, if you haven't paid that affiliation fee, that will restrict you from being able to participate in any of the conferences. All right, your invoices. If your program is anybody's program new to the whole school? Anybody? No? Okay, well, good. If they are, just add. Nobody? Mr. Gilbert, did you say yours was or no?
No, it's not.
Okay, all right.
I'm new to it, but the school is not.
Right. So nobody's a new program. Everybody's replacing a previous teacher. Okay.
No, Mickey German down at Enterprise High School.
Yes, sir.
The masonry program, it's the first year we've had actually with the skills, the masonry program.
Okay, was the masonry, okay. So for new programs, if it's a new program, it's a first time program, that program affiliation would be waived for you guys.
Okay.
So if you're not already listed on your invoice, you can just have your bookkeeper write masonry in and just put 0. And you can, if you want to add a note that says, you know, new program, fee waived or what have you. So.
Thank you.
Okay, so good news for all you architecture and construction instructors out there. Go Build actually paid for your affiliation fees, so you can do like one of big. Whoosh. So that's a pretty big one. I find that awesome. I'm a little jealous. I feel like I've got to start begging some of my people to support TDL teachers like that, because that was a great opportunity for you guys.
So our $150 is paid?
Yeah. Yep. So
Cool.
if your bookkeeper has not already paid your affiliation fee, but your fee is still showing up on your invoice, if you will just have them cross through your affiliation fee on the invoice and you can just write Go Build beside it, we will zero that out and you're good to go.
Awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. Okay, and like I said, this year we are trying to come up and be creative and find new ways. Of course, you know, especially if your students are not present, it gets to be a little bit challenging and you start wondering, why should I do this? And other than the good, the bad, and the ugly we talked about earlier, we have come up with some additional things to do. So the first 500 paid members, we've got some Skills USA goodies out there. You know, those FFA kids, they're always walking around with their blue jackets on, showing off and stuff. So those are my cubicle neighbors on the other side of this wall. So I'm going to pick on them a little bit. So we want our Skills USA kids, we want to have them some swag hanging off of them too. We are going to do a who's who in Alabama Skills USA this year. So, you know, anytime a mama or a grandmama can see their baby's name printed in a booklet, they get pretty stoked about that. So that's actually going to be a first time thing for us. We're going to do some travel scholarships this year. So, you know, sometimes it gets a little bit difficult trying to pay for kids to travel across state lines to go to national conferences. So we're going to be providing some travel scholarships. Those will be a random draw. So that you don't have to be the biggest, the best, and the brightest. You just got to be lucky and have your membership paid, and you could win one of those. We are using our officers this year to do some webinars, some peer-to-peer. So you get to, you know, grab your bag of Cheetos and a Coca-Cola and kick back and let our state officers do some teaching for you. So they're going to do some webinars that you guys could use if you're going to do your skills day or what have you. And then also, this is already kicked off, is our Member of the Month nomination. The first one was in Muscle Shoals. It was a welding student that was also an AP computer application student and was a work-based learning student. So we've already launched this program. So please, you know what, even if your kid is not selected, we are going to recognize your kid. The state leadership here is going to recognize your student, as well as our assistant state superintendent. So You know, you catch a kid, maybe you have a standout kid and it's easy to nominate them, or maybe you got a kid that you just need to get on your side. Because let me tell you, if you got a kid in there that ruffles your feathers and you catch them doing something good, if you can sprinkle a little honey on them and get them a nod for doing something good, you might make that kid your friend. I always say make them your Barney Fife, because if you can turn a trouble kid into an ally, boy, that's some strong classroom management right there. It'll pay off. Hey, the member of the month, this is that member of the month. If you have an iPhone, let's see, I forgot to share again. All right, so the member of the month, if you haven't, actually you guys don't have to do this, but these flyers should be coming to you if you haven't already seen any at your school. But if you go to the alskillsusa.org website, the nomination form is literally right in the middle of the home screen, and it takes maybe 2 minutes to fill that thing out. And I don't need a thesis statement on why you think they're great. You could say, you know, Tiffany tutored, I don't know, Johnny on how to do XYZ today, and you know, just something simple. It doesn't have to be complex. All right, this one is really important to me. If you have an iPhone or a QR reader, if you have an iPhone, you don't need a QR reader, okay? If you have an iDevice and you push your camera button and you just hold your camera like you're about to take a picture of this screen over this QR code, you'll notice a little bar will pop up at the top. And that will take you to all of our social media. So we're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We have our website, and we even have a YouTube channel. And we send out a lot of information there. It's also a great way to, I try to share a lot of good news from around the state that way. I would also encourage you to have your students join so they can see. It's just another way of keeping them involved and getting them excited, seeing what other kids are doing. You know, we put videos out there, we put announcements out there. So it's a good point of contact for you to have. All right, and I think, Mr. Upton, that's all I got.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you guys for being patient. I'll be monitoring the chat, so if you have any questions, just let me know.
Yes, and at the end of the session, we'll be open for questions as well. So if you want to write them down, and we can circle back to them later on in this presentation. So my section is the Skills USA section management. Now, Skills USA, you know, I know you guys are learning, ladies. When I say guys, I mean men and women. So I'm sure you guys and ladies are learning a lot during this training. So we're recording this. You can refer back to it. Hopefully you have some handouts, and I'll be glad to send you these PowerPoints that we're covering as well. So I'm saying that to indicate some terminology here. So Skills USA, the chapter, a Skills USA chapter is your school, okay? A Skills USA section is a program that you're teaching. So the section would be welding, that's a section. Carpentry would be a section. Plumbing would be a section. But the chapter is your whole school. So does that make sense? Does that make sense to everybody? Let me see some nods or thumbs up. Y'all know how to do a thumbs up? Do a little screen. Yeah, there we go. Oh, yeah. All right, yeah. Thumbs up. So if I'm making sense, thumbs up. If not, raise your hand. Good job. So now in Alabama, we call them programs, which is kind of, so it's a welding program, a carpentry program. That's an Alabama State Department terminology. A Skills USA terminology would be section, welding section, program section. So I know there's a lot to remember, and you're learning a lot of acronyms and that kind of stuff. So, you know, I just want to point that out and surely, if you have any questions, we can revisit that at a later date. So I'm going to try to I'm going to see what happens when I start this PowerPoint and share it with you. Okay, it took over my screen. So I'm going to escape out of that because I can't see you. And I'm going to do just a, what am I going to do here? I guess I'll just share my screen. Is that what you did, Ms. Brown? You just
You
shared?
got to select which screen you're going to share by
Yeah.
clicking on the tab, and then it'll pop up.
Ms. Brown, you got to you got to give host back to me so I can share my screen.
And
Thank you, ma'am.
while Mr. Upton pulls up his presentation, I did just put my presentation in the chat if you want to open that and save that.
Okay, are you seeing my?
Yes, sir. Slide 1. We're seeing the presenter view though.
Yeah, that's what yours was doing. Which is,
Oh, really?
yeah. Okay, but y'all can see it. I switched screens with it. All right, so Skills USA.
Yeah.
Only see about half the page.
Can you
Half the page.
Yeah, can you?
How about that?
Nope.
Is that better?
Nope.
You might have to select a different screen.
Wow. Let's see. What are you seeing? What's on your screen?
Skills and a half of you.
So what is, okay, so you're seeing that. Okay. Well,
Yeah, Mr. Gilbert showing you his, there it goes.
Yeah.
Now what do you see?
We still see the presenter, but at least we can see the slides.
You can see the slide?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, what is, I do want to know out of this group of new teachers, what is Skills USA to you?
$20.
$20,
That's
30.
about all I know about it until.
Okay. Anyone else?
I mean, I see it as an opportunity for kids. I competed in welding contests in high school myself on district and state level, and it gives kids an opportunity to not only give them incentive, but gives them opportunity to show what they can do at higher levels.
That's good. So one challenge that we face at the State Department, especially with the architecture construction cluster, is most of us coming out of industry don't know about Skills USA, and we become teachers, and all of a sudden we learn it while we're learning teaching as well. So there's a lot to learn. So that's why we're kind of spending time on Skills USA, so that new teachers, it will take a while to learn what it is and how you use it. This session right here will be practical application of how you're going to integrate Skills USA into your section. So it is part of administrative code to be an integral part of your program. So did that change? I'm trying to change screens here.
I think you're doing better than I did.
So did that change?
Yeah, we can see Skills USA is A.
Okay, is A, that's all you see?
Well, no, that slide.
Okay. So here again, we're going to learn terminology, Career and Technical Student Organization, or CTSO. So when you hear us say CTSO, we're talking about a career and technical organization. So every technical ed program in the state of Alabama has to have a CTSO. It is not always Skills USA. It may be FFA, FBLA, DECA. All those are CTSOs. Yours for your program area is Skills USA. So it is an organization built for students, led by students. And this is important for you guys. Your Skills USA Day hopefully you'll get it to a point where you're a facilitator. This is not something added to your job to make your job harder and more for you to do. It's the exact opposite. It's designed for you to be a facilitator, and the students are doing the work and the students are leading the program. So this takes a while to learn. For me, it took about 3 years to learn that. I was at the beginning of my career. By the way, I taught carpentry for 18 and a half years. That's where Mr. Mooneyham is. I was there for 18 and a half years. So when I first started with Skills USA, I led the charge. I led the meetings. Every Friday was Skills USA Day. In my first few years, I entered people in carpentry. I would enter one or two per year. But then as I progressed as a professional educator, I began to enter students into the leadership, into other competitions, and started taking half my class to competitions instead of one or two. And those that went, they earned the right within my classroom. So my whole class was participating and competing to go to districts. So that's where you want to be. Now, of course, we know you're not there today, but we do want to help you get there because it has a very positive impact on your students. Then as we go down this side, it prepares students to thrive in skilled careers. Careers are the greatest opportunity and everything to succeed. So right now, all of your students are in high demand. There's a conference going on right now called Alabama Works. It is an organization designed to bring education and industry together and how to provide those opportunities for our students. They are in high demand. I can tell you, Alabama is making a lot of effort to get our students well trained before they graduate high school. And our programs are the one that can meet that challenge. So the question is, how do instructors manage Skills USA? So how are you going to do this? We're providing this for you. Ms. Brown went over how you do your membership, the steps through that. So how in the classroom, how is this going to look in your classroom? So the first step in this is establish a meeting time. So for me, it was every Friday was Skills USA, every single Friday. So what does that mean? What does every Friday Skills USA mean? Well, it's a day that you use to help you manage your program. It is an opportunity for your students to take that day over. At the beginning, you get membership, you establish your officers, then you start running your meetings. This day also, you can use, I used it as a flex day. So let's say you got 5 days a week, Friday Skills USA Day. On Tuesday, there's an assembly, and I only have 4 days that week. So the day I take out is my Skills USA Day, because I can always circle back to it, or I can make up for it later. So to me, I used it as a flex day. That's kind of, it gives you an extra day during the week. So if you think about this, 5 days, you're using 1 day just for leadership. That's 20% of your time. So should you invest 20% of your class time in providing your students these soft skills? And the answer is yes. Statistics say 85% of the time, if your student gets fired, it's because of their soft skills. It's not because of their technical skills. So you're hired to teach these technical skills, and that is our strength, and that's what we want to do. And if I had my preference, I would be in the lab every day building things every day, all the time. There'd be absolutely no book work and there absolutely no tests. It would just be all time on tools is what I called it. We can't do that though, because we have to teach. We have to teach the theory. We also need to teach these soft skills. One thing that I noticed in my practice as a teacher is my students did not know how to approach me. They did not know, how do you approach authority? How do you disagree with authority? how do you win authority over on my side to see it the way I do? And they also need to learn that sometimes authority says no, and we got to take no and move forward. So these are all things that you teach them during your Skills USA. These are important skills that they will lose their job if they don't have these skills. Statistics show that. So you as an educator probably or may not have these skills either. So you're going to have to develop them. You're going to have to develop, how do I run a meeting first? You need to understand that if you don't know it already. And then you're going to have to train your students on how to do it. So these may be a skill set that you may need to learn. Now your technical skill set's the reason why you're hired, so that should be your strength. But realize you're becoming an educator, and there are some professional developments that, you know, we all need to work on. Even me, after 20-something years in education, I'm still working on my leadership skills, my team building skills, my teaching skills, because I'm teaching new teachers now. So it's a process, and education is like that. You plan, you implement, you reflect, you refine, and then you plan again. So that process just takes place over and over and over. So if you don't like Fridays, you don't like it in your schedule, then set another day. It doesn't matter. You get to choose which day it is. I know there's a culinary arts teacher in California that spoke about Skills USA, and Wednesdays were her days. And the reason why it was Wednesdays is because they would have, that day was cut short. They would, on Wednesdays afternoon, their whole school system met for professional development with the advisors. So she had a short 40-minute class period on Wednesdays, and she made that her Skills USA day. So again, make this work for you, where you're the facilitator, where it fits in your program and it works best for you, and it's giving the students their much needed soft skills. So let's see, I just want to read this. Skills USA days are set aside for students to develop personal, professional skills and technical skills, or workplace skills. That is the framework, by the way. Skills USA has come up with a framework to teach your students words, to articulate what their skill sets are, so that when they graduate, they can tell that interviewer that these are my personal skills, these are my professional skills, and these are my technical skills. At the beginning of the school year, instructor will lead membership. I'm sorry, part of mine is cut off here. Let me see if I can move it. Oh yeah, I can move it. Okay. So at the beginning of the school year, instructors will lead the meeting, but as the class moves forward, the instructor will become more of a facilitator. Now again, that may not happen this year. It may happen because you're learning a lot about teaching this year and being an educator. So, you know, if you get it done this year, more power to you, that's great. But I'm trying to set a realistic expectation of you know, your top priority right now is those technical skills, your lesson plans, becoming an educator. And then as you move forward, these are things you're going to develop later on in your practice as a teacher. So, okay, I'm going to move to the next slide. Any questions so far? Are you with me? Are you yawning or are you with me?
Well,
action steps
this,
to manage.
what I would like to, I mean, as a first year welding instructor, I have over 30 years in welding, and I've made a very good living doing it. I have a lot of skill with it, but I understand this part, and this part I believe is a bigger part than a lot of the other things we do. But I have dual enrollment students as well. So, and I'm having virtual teaching. I'm gonna be in the classroom, but I'm having to learn to teach virtual as well, to basically give them virtual homework in two different formats, Schoology as well as Canvas. So, and I run my own business on the side. So the push for the virtual into the technical trades that we're trying to teach has really been overwhelming. I would say in the least.
Yes, sir. I understand. And even, yeah, I had to learn several formats State Department because we deal with multiple systems and they all use different formats. But so here's what I want to encourage you with. The way you eat an elephant, have you ever heard that old saying, one bite at a time?
Oh, yeah.
Just take it one day, one bite at a time. You do need to prioritize your list of the things you need to do and just focus on the priorities, and you'll catch up with the others later. And some of them you'll drop. I mean, that's just the way it is.
I mean,
you need to set your priorities and take small steps.
I think the biggest issue I have is the kids. The kids are tired of being in the classroom in that setting. They take welding to have that shop time, and they want to put their hands on the equipment, learn the equipment. And I understand that because I was the same way when I took it. And I want to feed that. I want to feed that side as well as what they need to know from the classroom. I understand you need to know that as well. And
so that is a balance that you'll have to work out for your students. Yes, they always want to be in the shop, and quite honestly, I would too. That's all I wanted to do. So, however,
you guys are going to be living legends. I mean, honestly, I mean, I know that's probably a little consolation now, but you guys really are going to be legends coming in and dealing with this year. And just remember, we're here to help. If you've got a question, what recommendations do you have for me to do this or that or anything? Or I'm not, I want to bounce some ideas off of you about how I could teach this. That's what we're here for. Call us, email us. We don't want you to feel like you're in it alone, because we definitely realize that this is a wild year. So we empathize with what you're going to and use us as a tool.
That's also the reason why we put these PowerPoints together, because we know that you'll refer to them later, and also this video. So even if you missed something today, I know when I first started new teachers, I had an envelope that thick, and I even pulled it out 2 or 3 years later afterwards. So you want to build your resource binder either electronically or physically. Build those binders and you'll look at them later. I was called to Enterprise 2 weeks ago, and the construction teacher told me that very thing. He emailed me some questions, and I said, well, it's in your binder. It's in the NCCER binder. So then we scheduled a visit, and I went down there. When I went and saw him, he said, you know what? I found that material, and it answered every single question I had. So I've been through the process you're going through, and I fully understand. It's a whole lot of information. So I encourage you to build that binder either electronically or physically. And then as you get to things and get to questions, go back to those binders. So I'm going to dive into these action steps for managing. So this is what I would do on a Friday. And so again, I'm modeling here. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not mandating what to do. I'm making a suggestion, a teaching practice that was very successful for me, and I believe it'll be very successful for you. So on Fridays, the first thing I did was membership. When is membership due? Membership is due the very first Friday of school. If you started the following Monday, you're past due. So from then on, for the rest of the year, they're past due. So what does that mean? Well, high school students don't know what that means. So it's a learning opportunity of what bills are and when they're due and what it means when you're past due. My membership was 100% almost every single year. The practice I used was when they were past due a week, I would get them to write me a contract and tell me when are they going to pay those dues. And they wrote it, not me. Again, making the teacher job as a facilitator and putting more work on them for what they're not doing. If they're not doing something that requires more work, not less. Another good thing about that practice was I would learn about the socioeconomic, if they're not able to afford it, if their parents have lost a job. Right now there probably are a lot of people out there who are not able to afford it. And I would bring that note to my director, and I would ask for a scholarship or a waiver for those socioeconomic needs. So it's a way to address that where you don't have to embarrass them in front of the class, to just bring shame on somebody going through a hard time. We're here to help them. We're not here to shame them. So every Friday was my chapter meetings or my section meeting, which is carpentry. Chapter meetings are the whole school. That happens maybe once or twice a year. So in my section meeting in carpentry, the first thing I would do is elect, after membership, I would elect officers. So the first Friday memberships due. The next Friday we nominate people who are going to run for office. The next Friday we'd have the election. So if you need resources on how to run an election, Skills USA has got them in the handbook and on the website. We'll talk about that more later. Yeah, there's the handbook. Thank you, Ms. Brown.
It's a great book.
Next, after you get your officers elected, the next
there's
thing
a
you do is your
question.
program of work. Your program of work is basically your calendar. What are you going to do this year? And these students decide this, not you. You ask your students, what do you want to do this year? Well, most of them want to go to nationals. Most of them want to go to state. And most of them want to go to districts. So to get to nationals, you got to win state. To get to state, you got to win districts. To get to districts, you got to win first place in my class. You got to participate. You're rewarded in my class for doing good. So that's going to cost money. So how much money does it cost to go to districts? You figure that out. How much money does it cost to go to state? You figure that out. How much money is it going to cost to go to nationals? And you figure that out. Then you come up with a budget. You set your budget. After you set your budget, the next step is how we're going to raise money. What are the fundraisers? These are the things we're going to do. You will be amazed at some of your students, what ideas they come up with raising money. One kid said, let's just walk through the neighborhood and help people fix their doors, help them fix their hand railings on their, on their porches. I was carpentry, so that's what we did. We did community service, tons of community service like that. Just others mow their yard, rake leaves. Don't ask for a certain amount, just do it, and then they'll pay what they can. So fundraisers, again, you're the facilitator. Students come up with the ideas. You set the fundraiser. And at our school, we had to fill out a form. You get them to fill out that form, submit it to the director, and get it approved. Go through the proper channels. Students need to learn how to go through proper channels. In construction, you have to do it all the time, especially if you're going to do a septic tank or something like that. 5 is your chapter of excellence. This is an online application which your students can do. Now, you're going to have to guide them through there because it's going to be your portal through Skills USA. Ms. Brown showed you how to log into that earlier.
And I'll go through that in detail in a little bit.
Okay. You log into your portal and you run through the chat. Are you going to run through the chapter of excellence or are you going to run through the portal?
Just through the chapter of excellence, just what it requires. And I do have an example, so.
Okay. So chapter of excellence basically is self-reporting of what you're doing in your program. The first level is what you should do as by law, by Alabama. So to be level 1, you're required to do that. And then above that is above and beyond. And then the last thing is conferences. What conferences are we going to attend? Other conferences that you can go to are LOTC, JLDC, and we're going to have some video things to you this year. So that's practical steps to help you pull this off. Skills USA provides multiple resources, as Ms. Brown mentioned earlier. Trying to see how I'm doing on time. I got 15 minutes. Okay. So Ms. Brown referred to this earlier. Alabama Skills USA has their own our own website, and it's www.alskillsusa.org. It has all your information for Alabama. It's got calendar. You can pay your program fee online there. You can see the upcoming events. Just everything. It'll talk about district competitions, which we're not posting yet. We're going to post that probably in about a month or so. And then state conference information will come out like in December or early January. And then the national website, www.skillsusa.org. It is more information. It's helpful stuff. You can click under advisors. You get a lot of resources on how to run your meetings. It gives you templates on agendas. It gives you a template for your program of work. It's just one thing great about Skills USA is all the many resources available to you. So one thing that really helps is this membership kit. And Ms. Brown did mention this earlier. This membership kit used to be mailed to you through the mail. Now you go to skillsusa.org and you get it from, you download it from the online resource. They will mail it to you if you call it in and ask for it. And we get some here at the department, but the easiest way and the most quickest way for you to get it is to go to skillsusa.org. At the top of the page, hover over resources, click on advisors, scroll down, get your membership kit, and walk through that. So I'm going to do that for you right now. I'm going to take this off. And I'm going to walk through getting that membership. Let's see. Let's go here and go to Skills USA. Org. Okay, skillsusa.org. If you're with me, let me see a thumbs up. Are we asleep yet? Thumbs up. Can I get a thumbs up?
I'm with you.
There we go. I see 1, 2.
Yeah, I've already got it downloaded, 18 pages.
All right. Is that you already downloaded? All right. You get started today.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So you go to skillsusa.org and you hover over membership, go to advisors right here, click on advisors. Then over here on the left side, you'll see this membership kit. Click on it. It says empower. There's a letter to your parents already drafted. You'll have to edit it, customize it. Here's the story of Skills USA, why you should, just gives you a history of why it's in existence and how it can help you. And I'm going to scroll down here to managing your chapter right here. And I'm going to click on this little arrow. And then it's kind of the steps we've gone through. It talks about chapter meetings. And then it talks about your officers. Tells what the officers are supposed to do during their meetings. It tells you how to do the election. And then here's your program of work. So the program of work is divided into sections. Again, it's basically your outline of what you're going to be doing all year. You do this at the beginning of the year. You have advocacy and marketing. You have community engagement. In my carpentry class, we were doing community service projects all the time. And we got to do that through Skills USA. These were Skills USA community projects. There's nothing in your curriculum, the state course of study, that says to do a community service. The only way you get to do that is through Skills USA. Financial management, you talk about budgeting, leadership development. There's a career essentials, which is PowerPoints and lesson plans on how you teach your students things about integrity, leadership, professional development. Great resources you can dig into later. How to engage your partners and your alumni, workplace experiences. So what you would do is you do your membership, you get your officers, you encourage your president to lead the class. They lead by dividing into committees or do it as a whole, either way. And the first thing they do, the first objective is to do that program of work. What are we doing this year? And once you get that established, the next Friday or the next Friday, you get those committees and groups together. You decide what your budget's going to be. And then you decide the fundraisers, and you just step through it like that. Is that making sense? I need some feedback here. Are you following what I'm presenting here?
The difficult part for my school is that I have 3 different schools that send students to my school on 4 blocks. So they're either at the school or they're back at the high school. We're just a technical school that's separated from the other 3 schools. So getting people from the 4 classes together right now is like not happening.
Yeah, I had that challenge.
A lot of the kids have to come on the bus. You know, they don't drive or not able to drive, and it would be hard to put, because of them being broke up into 4 different blocks. It would be hard to be able to get them together after school as a group.
Yes, so we faced that challenge as well, and I had officers for my morning class, and I had officers for my afternoon class. And they were also coming in at different times and leaving at different times. So this is the great thing about Skills USA is you are implementing skills in your program is you can put them in groups when they come in and have them working on a skills project. And then once everybody gets there, you can get everybody together and do whatever your task is for that day or your lesson plan. And then as they leave, they can go back to, or the ones that are remaining, they can work on their project or what they're, what they're working on. Whether they're working on a competition, I'll tell you, community service is a 66-page document. So we started that in August, and that group worked on it all the way until February. So they worked on it over a semester. So some of those projects take a while. Some of those competitions take a while. And then you'll have groups planning your community service. One competition there was, I'm not sure if they still have it, but it was a safety competition where the group would go around our shop and make sure that we were safe, what our safety practices and what weren't, what needed to be improved. Then they could also do that for the whole school. Go around the school and see, what safety practices are being followed, which ones are not, and what improvements we need to make. And you can discover a lot of good things for the school through a process like that. So that's kind of like bell ringers, it's a little short assignment that you can give them while they're waiting on other ones to come in and they're actively engaged. But that is definitely a challenge that you may figure out different ways to handle it.
Brian, Mickey Sherman, Enterprise.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You were down there at school a couple weeks ago, remember?
Yes.
I missed something maybe. So I have, say, a block, 17 kids in first block, 17 in the second block, and 20 in the fourth block. If I elect officers, can you have officers out of every block or different levels? Like you have level 1, level 2, all the way up to level 3, students. And then next semester I have different students again. So
yes,
we
sir.
got them for half the year, and then the second year or second semester we have different officers for the second semester.
Yes, sir. It's entirely up to you on how you want to run those officers. I personally had one in a group in the morning and a group in the afternoon. But here you want to make it work for you. Like what best organizational structure will help you run the program where you're a facilitator and not
right. If
you're having to drive every single group, then that's going to wear you out, So you're free to create whatever organizational structure you want to. Just my advice on that would be to make sure it's fair so the students have a perception that it's being fair.
Okay.
You're not favoring one group over another. That's a good question.
Okay. The other, the other problem, as everybody knows, is we have them for 2 days. So the blue is Monday and Wednesday, and then the white is Tuesday and Thursdays, and Friday is a off day for us. So some classes I have, like it's going to have the alphabet falls. Out of say 17 or 20, I might have 6 in Monday, and then on Tuesday, the second half might be 10 or 12. So I see what you're saying. I can try working it out, but some of my officers are going to be separated different days. Be a little job this year trying to get everything organized the way I want it, but I guess we have to work around this COVID mess.
Yes, sir. So right now at this point, I believe I would get my classes going first, like make sure your lesson plans and your subject matter that you're teaching.
Yeah.
Make sure you get it ironed out first and working well, and then I would implement skills into it. I would do it on the latter end. I don't know. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. It may work for you better another way, but yeah, it's challenging. I understand. You're juggling. But now you can, if the class is electing a president, so they respect that student in your class. So this person I would work with, bring them alongside with me and get them on board with where this program's going, reason why we're there and where we're going, and give that person some leadership skills. And that will help you manage that class. Does that make sense?
Thanks for your input. It does. It does.
That's a class elected president and not your favorite. If students think you're picking your favorite, they're not going to respect your favorite. But if they're picking who that leader is, they're more likely to fall in line with what they're choosing them,
Okay.
That's a good question. That sounds very challenging. Your schedule is very challenging. So anyone else? The main thing I want to stress to you is this is important. It is a very good opportunity to make it work for you. Like you're saying, everybody's got a different schedule and they're juggling different things. So I'm not going to come out and say you have to do it this way. I just want to encourage you to implement it in your program and make it work for you. And it's very beneficial to your students because it involves all of them and not just one or two. It will involve every single student. So in summary, Fridays or any day you pick, Skills USA Day. Membership is due the first of the year. First thing you want to do is elect your officers, come up with a program of work, set a budget, then do your fundraisers, enter your chapter of excellence, and then go to conferences. And understand that Administrative Code, which is the Alabama law, states CTSOs are an integral part of career and technical education. That's not something we're making up. That is your job by law. Now, I don't like beating people over the head with, what their job is, but this is your job. This is part of it.
I don't think we have a problem with it being part of it. It's just, I wish it was all of it. I wish we could just focus on this and getting these kids ready to enter the workforce. Like I said, it is COVID time right now, so the COVID made it difficult, but this would be better if we could focus on this and just getting these kids where they're ready to compete in the workforce.
I agree with you because my advisory committee, which I'll talk about a little bit later, my advisory committee, they would never come to me about a technical skill. Every single time they would say, Brian, teach them to be to work on time. I teach them to look me in the eye, teach them how to shake my hand. It was all soft skills. Every time I asked, it came back with soft skills or career essential skills. So yeah, I agree with you totally. So our next session is Skills USA Thriving in the Virtual Environment, which is going to cover. Do y'all want to take we've been at it for about an hour and a half, so do you want to take about a 5-minute break, or you want to press on and maybe finish early? Thumbs up to take a break. I got 1, 2, 3. All right, 4.
Brian, share my.
5.
I need a quick break.
Brian, will you make me the host real quick, please?
Sure. Let's see. Let me make Miss Brown the host. I think we're about half of us want a break. It's coming to you, Miss Brown.
All right, 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Y'all
All
good
right,
with
let's
that?
yeah, that sounds good. Take a 5-minute break. We'll be back at
1:37.
1:37. Sounds good.
Miss Brown, are you logged in twice?
I am. I like to see things from both sides, from both views. So I figured if I log in on my phone, I can see what's going on from your view.
Yeah, I do that too.
I'm sneaky.
No, I have to do that to make sure my stuff's been working, because these virtual platforms are terrible. They the editor, so where you're supposed to put stuff in there, is
right.
a text editor. I guess you've seen Schoology and PLP.
Yes,
and
sir.
Garbage. Oh my God.
I am not a PowerPoint person. I didn't like using them in the classroom, and so I don't usually use them with on virtual meetings either. So
I'm also I have a degree in chemistry, so I used to teach chemistry. And the kid, why do you have PowerPoint, Mr. Lazio? I said, I can't do a chemical formula on PowerPoint. I'm sorry.
It takes more time to do that than it does to teach it. So, well, and I was always a drawer, like I that was always my thing. Or, like if I would teach types of chemical reactions or something, we would use people and, stuff like that. So I was never just a presented on the board person. I was drawing pictures or telling stories, or, I tried to put it in the language that they understood. And PowerPoint it's just easy to take a nap on PowerPoint. So wasn't my thing.
Yeah, I also do appliances. I have my own business, and so I taught at a private school, a Catholic school here in Montgomery, and we didn't have a culinary thing, but I brought in an oven and wired it in, and I did the chemical formula for cookies.
Yeah.
Kids got that real quick.
Yeah, they don't understand what a chemical reaction is, but you start talking about a recipe, or they don't know what reactants are, but you start talking about ingredients, they're like, oh, I get that now.
And I had kids finally, the light bulb, they said, Mr. Lasigo, I said, we understand how to do it now.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let me go get me something to drink. I've been cutting up trees all morning long.
Yeah, you better stay hydrated.
We're back.
We're back. All right. So you guys doing okay so far?
Still awake.
Oh yeah.
Just barely.
Yeah.
Let me also say this. We try our best to make sure that we provide what you need. So if there's ever a particular topic that you think that we could help you on, let us know, because we're going to do this again at future sessions. And so if we ever need to tailor it to something that you need, please let us know. There's so much to learn that we have to make a selection of what you need. But if you tell us what you need, we'll try to make sure that we cater to those requests. So, all right, let's go back over here again. And whoever said the split screens, we have split screens here, or not split screens, excuse me, dual screens here. And it's great, but at the same time, I have so many things going on over here that who knows what you guys are
I have had 3
connected to
before.
over here.
Multitask.
Woo, all kinds of screens galore. All right, let me see. Yeah, nope, I don't want to go to the beginning. Let's go back through here. So I don't know why it's showing y'all that slide. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know if it's an update, but it seems like no, oh well. Seems like this has changed because it hasn't done this in the past, but that's all right. As long as you can see what we're saying, that's all that matters.
And you run all the rest of our classes for the rest of the year?
What can we do the teaching for you?
Can we just take these kind of classes for November and February, whatever the other classes are?
Yeah.
Now you can just have my virtual classes. I like my real class.
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about instead of getting them do a great job, but this is more tailored to our needs, I think.
Oh yeah, are you talking about the SREB portion?
Yeah.
Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like I feel like they're teaching us how to be professional babysitters and to entertain the children. And I'm like, I tell my kids first day, I'm not here to play games with you. I'm here to, if you want to learn, you got to learn, this sort of a old school, hard rear end type person. And I tell them, I said, when I was 10 years old, I was working and didn't have no phone, didn't have no nothing, no virtual.
Right.
And I don't play games.
And that's the gap we have to straddle between engagement versus you know, really preparing them to just be adults. So, well,
And John, you can't tell me, John, that you didn't learn a whole lot about a hyperdoc and how to use a hyperdoc effectively.
I don't know what a hyperdoc is.
I knew what she was talking about, and I have done that before, where you put a link in a document and all that stuff.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, multiple links.
Yeah, and I'm like, I do that in emails all the time.
Right. All right. Well, what I'm going to go over next is just some, I don't know, really it's just to kind of start a conversation about how many of you have virtual students? Is it pretty much everybody's doing some virtual students?
Yeah.
I believe so, yes.
I'd have to do,
okay.
I have to do virtual homework.
Yeah.
All my students are face to face. I have to give them stuff to do at home, and then my dual enrollment is they got a whole lesson plan that I'm building and grading
Right.
and all that's virtual.
Right. So, you know, we kind of posed the question, well, what do we do for these instructors that have virtual students? And they're going to say, well, how am I supposed to incorporate Skills USA virtually? So this is not, you know, the pinnacle of how to do CTSOs virtually, but it was an attempt to answer that question. So we'll go through this. So did Brian and Lisa talk to you at all last time about career essentials?
Oh, I've been talked to about so much, I'm not sure anymore.
I'm sure.
The soft skills or something else.
Right. And so career essentials,
Yeah.
so when you pay for your membership, you will have access to Career Essential Foundations, okay? And so what's great about the Career Essential Foundations is these are presentations like PowerPoints. It has lesson plans. It even has student activities and worksheets, Blackline Masters that you can use to teach those skills that we talked about earlier. So, you know, like I said, sometimes we know what kids need to learn. They need to learn integrity. They need to learn work ethic, but how do you teach it? And so Career Essentials, that's going to come with your paid membership, and it is ready to go, pre-packaged, already prepared lessons. Like I said, all the way from the plan to the presentations to the activities that you can do afterwards. Now, what's good about that is if you are teaching in a virtual environment, of course, one thing that you can do is you can put PowerPoints out there for your students to look at, or while you're Zooming with your students, you can use those PowerPoints. So keep in mind, those are great. I know, you know, our experienced Skills USA teachers, they say that those are great even if you aren't having to worry about virtual. They are great for sub-lesson plans because it is spelled out word for word. It's all ready to go. So use those virtually. You know, once you're a member, you have access. You can download those sheets. You can use those PowerPoints and slide them right into your whatever virtual format you're using. And of course, with student meetings, and I'm thinking about the discussion from earlier about, you know, if I have 4 class periods with these students, how am I supposed to do that? You know, if you have if each class period has its own kind of unique, I don't know, skills culture in it, one way you can get them all together in all your class periods is if you have, you know, a monthly Zoom meeting where they all the class periods come together, and then you can use those weekly meetings or those class period meetings to carry out what activities were determined or decided on at that Zoom meeting. So that's another way. You think about, we use it from class. Well, of course, we can use them for our meetings as well. So, and you know, if you think about that, one of the things that we need to do is prepare our kids to use business technology. So if we're teaching them how to work on an engine, but they don't know how to use a computer, that's going to be a problem. So allowing them to use the technology and teaching them to use that technology, that's just as important as you learning that technology. And it might be an asset to you if you struggle, because they'll show you some things. So Plus, it allows you to connect your campus students and your virtual students so that they can see their peers that maybe they aren't able to see on campus, and then allowing them to use those chat and those screen share features. You know, usually you may not allow them to do that, but if your officers are hosting those meetings and just letting them, like I said, go from the one that's being presented to them taking on the role of presenter, those are some good ideas. These are some new little toys, I guess I'll call them, that I learned about this week. Tallow is kind of like LinkedIn. It's LinkedIn. They can create a profile, because apparently you can't do LinkedIn necessarily for younger kids now because there's a minimum age. But this also has the additional benefit of Tallow matches students with scholarships, college admissions, internships, apprenticeships, and jobs. So it's almost like a LinkedIn for younger people or entry-level workers. So that's, you know, some things that they could use virtually to kind of engage in those personal skills and those workforce skills. Nepris is another little toy that I found. This is an opportunity if you want to do some workplace skills or have say a professional talk to your students about what personal qualities or what workplace qualities are important in their job. These are opportunities for you to reach out to industry professionals that are already hooked up with this Nepris platform, and then you've just got to access them. Another one is virtualjobshadowing.com. Of course, this year, you know, even what we're seeing from the State Department is some people just don't want you to be there right now. They're not accepting visitors. They are shut down due to COVID. And so these are another opportunity for you to be able to show them real workplace environments. So keep along with how do we engage students if they're not on campus students? How do we get them doing skills type stuff? How do we get them building onto those workplace skills, the personal skills, the technical skills? Of course, you're doing the technical skills in your classroom, but how do we also do that workplace and personal skills? Have your students meet virtually with that advisory council. And I think Mr. Upton said he was going to speak about advisory council later, but have them join virtually and be a part of that meeting. Virtual local contests. So as you'll see, when we start going through competitions, what kind of competitions are available through Skills Yes What to Say. Obviously, there's a welding competition. There's a construction competition. There's cosmetology competitions. But there are also competitions that are we call them leadership. So such as prepared speech, extemporaneous speech, job interview is actually a competition. So even if your kids are not there on campus to say practice for a welding competition, or they can't be there to practice hairstyling, you could still get them engaged in those leadership contests and practice with them virtually if they aren't able to be there physically with you. And what you'll want to do once you log in, you're going to want to look at those technical standards for those contests, and it'll tell you exactly what those kids need. And what I would do is I'd have those kids look through them, look at what's required of the contest, have them pick one. And like I said, if they're a virtual student, have them pick one that's a leadership that they can practice with you or with their peers through a virtual format like us. Practicing with that JLDC, Participate. That's our joint leadership conference. That one is great in making leaders. I think the kids have a lot of fun with that because all of our CTSOs, our career tech student organizations come together. This year, when you pay for your program, but the good news is you're not going to pay per student to participate in the JLDC conference. And one of the things that you can do with your students this year that we've been working on here at the staff is our Skills USA students that attend this conference, they have an opportunity to earn their statesman pin. So this is a distinction for Skills USA members. Well, this year you basically are going to get to engage more students because you're going to pay per program instead of paying per student that physically attends. So it's virtual, but you get to include more kids, and we've created a virtual way for them to earn these Statesman pins. So again, we're talking about giving them something to be excited about, something to be proud about, something to put on a resume, and they can put that there. There are, I don't know if you guys are on the mailing list for your area workforce council, but those guys are and girls are constantly sending out webinars, and those webinars are teaching workforce and professional skills. So get on that mailing list and start using those webinars. You know, provide those as a resource that your students can use to learn. Virtual mock interviews are great. Again, it's hard maybe to get visitors on your campus. I know I had to go deliver some bags the other day, and they wouldn't even let me in with my state employee badge, but virtual mock interviews are great. Even having your students mock interview each other and tell them what to look for and how to score each other, even that would be a great opportunity. Joining the Skills USA social media, that's a great way to keep your virtual kids engaged in skills. And then also, if you haven't already done this, consider creating a social media page just for your chapter. I have one of my standout instructors in TDL is Robert Irwin in Shelby County it's like the career and I don't think it's like the Career and Technical Center. So it has a very generic name, but it's in Columbiana, Alabama. And he has a Facebook page just for his students. They have their own logo. So it's kind of like a simulated workplace. He does simulated workplace. So all of his students, you know, wear the same uniform that they actually have donated from industry partners. They have their own logo and they have their own Facebook page, and it's great to be able to see. He puts pictures of his kids up there. He puts pictures of lessons and achievements. He has them involved in all kinds of competitions, and he puts their achievements there. Anytime he does any kind of fundraising, he uses that there. And it is a great opportunity, and it's a great opportunity for me too, because I can look and see what the great things he's doing. And then from my position here, I can push that out to the rest of the state and show the rest of the state the good things that are being done.
I got a question. I was told we couldn't do Facebook pages and stuff.
Well, and look, and I'm going to qualify everything we say. You have to know what rules you have at your district. So just like Mr. Upton said, you know, for example, if you're going to do a fundraiser, some counties are going to require you to fill out a fundraiser permission form.
Yeah, it's crazy down there.
Right. And you've got to.
It's your LEA. You do have to follow your LEA policy, which is set by your board, your local education association. If they have a policy against Facebook, then yes, you have to follow your LEA policy.
We do not trump any of your local rules or your principal or anything like that. So you definitely have to know that. But if it's allowed, then consider doing that. If it's not allowed, but you would like some publicity, I can be the person that puts your good news out there through our Skills USA site. So consider that as well. If your kids are linked to the state skills social media pages, then they can see themselves there. There are opportunities. So Mr. Upton talked about community service. So that it seems strange that you could do community service virtually, but there's actually a pretty good bit of options out there if you get creative. And if you start conversations, like Mr. Upton said, this is supposed to be student-led for students, but sometimes you may have to kind of give them some ideas. And so these are just ideas that you could use to kind of help them in the beginning with virtual or remote community service. One thing out there is letters against isolation. So this is if you want your students write letters to senior citizens that have chosen to stay isolated due to their health concerns. And communication is one of those personal skills that we've talked about. Show them how to write a letter, and then have them write letters to some of the recipients that have signed up on this site. Reading for the blind, that's another one. There's actually one that's more interesting than this one here, where you can kind of help the blind with, say, if they receive mail, they can't read it, they kind of can get on a face call and have a reader read to them, which is good. Again, communication, meeting new people. And then also, I put this link here, it's volunteermatch.org. What I liked about this is when I scrolled through some of their virtual volunteering opportunities, there were some on there that I felt would also be great for almost like simulated workplace. It would be actually putting their technical skills in. Just off the top of my head, one of them was looking for graphic designers that could assist with COVID signage for small businesses that couldn't afford that kind of talent. So there's some really interesting things on there to engage your kids, even if they're not physically there, even if you guys can't get together physically at, Habitat for Humanity. There are some interesting ideas out there for how to do that. And I'm just going to preface, or I guess I didn't preface it, but I'm going to say it's your responsibility to always look through these things as an instructor and evaluate the safety. So do make sure you do that. Virtual field trips, there are all kinds of virtual field trips. This is just one location where those are found. Virtual watch parties for socials, virtual dinner parties. In that handy dandy little leadership notebook I showed you guys, there's a section in the back. And I don't know, can you guys still see my personal camera?
Yes, yes.
So this section shows them how to eat, or how to set a table. It's kind of like that, what is it? Pretty Woman. What fork do I use?
It's fork and spoon and
so you could even do a virtual party there, a dinner party with the kids, let them set a table according to that. And you guys talk about that. Talk about, what do you talk about at a table? What do you not talk about at an eating table? We hope their parents are teaching them that, but these days you can't count on it. So Skills USA itself has a student-to-student program that mentors younger children. So you can check that program out there. Now that one is supported by Skills, so the safety is built in there. Have students create their own videos on the Skills USA framework. If they did that, please send them to me. I'd love to post them on our social media. Use Science is one of the essential elements is self-motivation. And so this is a good kind of get to know yourself. It's almost like a free version of Cooter. Have y'all been through Cooter yet?
No.
Yeah.
I
Well, get used to that word. It's a little weird at the beginning, but you will. And then also National Skills USA, and especially in this climate of COVID, is doing a lot to make sure that they're still engaging members when we can't be together. So look out, once you join, look out for these National Skills USA events. There's actually something now called Skills Connect, which is kind of like almost like a LinkedIn, or it's a social networking application for Skills USA members. And just to show you what that would look like, today I got this email. So evidently tonight there's a Skills USA game show. So having your kids engage with the national organization is another thing you can do with them, even if they're not able to meet with you on your physical campus. Okay, so the next thing is we need to breathe. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have any ideas, any things that you've done to try to do this stuff virtually?
I had one, your PowerPoint we downloaded that didn't have all these other screens in it. I don't know if you knew that or not.
What now?
The PowerPoint I downloaded the screen 15 and 16 are the same screen, and that's where it ends.
That's strange.
Yeah, you might have had two of them in there or something, whatever, but
Yeah, maybe.
And I don't know if anybody, I was trying to follow along and it's like, whoop, there it goes, nothing else. So,
Oh no. I'll try to upload again. I'm not sure. Maybe I don't know.
I noticed that as well.
Okay. Are you guys seeing it okay from my screen though?
yeah, we see yours fine. It's just that one we downloaded was.
Okay. I'll try to, I'll upload it into Google Docs again when Mr. Upton takes over again. So.
Yeah, they do some, that's what I was telling you. All these different programs from Microsoft products, a lot of times you got to download it into the Google document format or whatever, and it gets screwed up in the translation.
Right,
and
right.
So
yep.
Technology will kick you in the rear end.
Right, right. Well, I have never been one who, I always told my kids, don't let me sit up here and tell you a mistake. You know, we were talking about chemistry earlier, and don't let me, you know, forget to carry the one and you not say something. You know, you better tell me. So it's okay to be, I guess, humbled by it and say, okay, I'll look at that again. So, all right. So, again, the purpose of those last two slides was just me trying to come up with some suggestions for you. If you're going, how the heck am I supposed to do, how am I supposed to create a cohesive Skills USA club or organization when I either have some kids at home and some away, or I have all virtual students? How am I supposed to keep them engaged? Why would they want to pay that membership fee if they're not even here? So those are some ways that you can keep them engaged and keep them on board with you. And of course, they're not bad to use with even if all of your kids are in person, especially with, I don't know about y'all, but at the end of the day, I don't mind continuing to work, but if I can continue to work on my couch in my PJs, I'm a lot happier person. So if you are going to have evening meetings, if you choose that that's the best way to do that, but your kids don't have to physically get back to campus or find a ride or what have you, and they can join that chapter meeting or section meeting, if they can join it virtually, hey, you know, you might have actually better participation because of it. All right, so I'm going to slow down a minute. And we're going to talk about this chapter of excellence. So Skills USA would like every single program to participate in chapter of excellence for two reasons. And one, if you think about it, you're already going to be doing what it takes to fulfill the requirements for chapter of excellence. So why not do chapter of excellence? And at the same time, chapter of excellence is going to help you know what should I be doing. So it helps you know what you should be doing, and it also rewards you for what you're already doing. So there are 3 levels in chapter of excellence. So there's level 1, 2, and 3. Level 1 is it kind of goes in increasing levels of difficulty. Level 1 is called Quality Chapter Award. So keep in mind that quality is the distinguishing characteristic for that level 1. So these are quality chapters. This is doing the basics of what you should be doing to run a Skills USA chapter. So to fill out or to apply for a quality chapter award, this is what you have to do. There's some simple things such as having officers. I should have left out a copy of one. Having officers, some basic requirements that you're going to check off there and enter your officers' names. And then what you're going to do is you should have an activity for each of the framework components. So remember, Skills USA is made of that delta. It's the personal skills, the workplace skills, and the technical skills grounded in academics. So these being whatever program you're teaching, you know, you're a welding instructor, a cosmetology instructor, a manufacturing instructor, but we also want to develop these workplace and personal skills so that they're ready to move into a job site and a profession where they're going to be successful. So you're going to have 3 activities, 1 for each of the skill areas. So for personal skills, Skills USA promotes integrity, work ethic, professionalism, responsibility, adaptability and flexibility, and self-motivation. So you are going to write down an activity you did to promote these characteristics. So let's just say you and your students are just going to go straight out of the Careers Essentials Foundations, and you covered the lesson on integrity. You presented it at maybe you had your officers present the integrity presentation at a meeting, and then let's say that you guys did the integrity activities. So you did a complete lesson on integrity, okay? Document it. You did that activity, it fulfilled personal skills. You'll record a second activity you're going to do. This time it should reflect workplace skills. So the essential elements of workplace skills are communication, decision making, teamwork, multicultural sensitivity and awareness, planning, organization and management, and leadership. So if we think back to what if we're doing this virtually? Well, we said that maybe our activity is going to be that, I can't remember what it was called. It was like writing to isolate, what was it? Isolation? Who was paying attention? This is the pop quiz. Letters against isolation. That's what it was. So let's say you guys do letters against isolation. You do a lesson on proper communication, how to write a letter, which kids don't know how to do that anymore. And you guys sent out letters to seniors using that site, okay? Well, you're gonna write that down, and that taught this particular essential element of workplace skills. Now, I put some other things in here. Conduct chapter meetings to choose CEP activities. That's almost like a dog that's caught its own tail. I'm gonna achieve my CEP component 2 by teaching them how to conduct a meeting and allowing them to choose CEP activities. Does that make sense? Why I say it's a dog that's caught its tail? Anybody? Somebody validate my metaphor. So I'll tell the kids, somebody nod, somebody say something.
Yeah.
If you're conducting meetings and they're working together during that meeting, if your students are going to do multicultural presentations, or they're going to have, say, an HR manager speak to the group about multicultural, how they deal with or ensure multicultural awareness. Writing a plan of action. Here's another, the dog's gonna catch its tail kind of scenario. If I write down that my activity for workplace skills was students trained on how to write a plan of action, you're gonna see where that's gonna come in handy on the second level. Leadership, this is part of creating those officers that you have to have for level 1. Okay, and then you're gonna have to have a third activity. This one's gonna cover technical skills. These are the technical skills. And again, I just put some ideas over here. Train them to enter the application digitally, because like Mr. Upton said, it's gonna be your digital application. You'll have to log in, but don't do it for them. Make them do it. Make them train on how to do that. This is a good one. So how many of you used or had to write or heard or had to respond to SMART goals in the industry? Anybody? Is that a no?
I've heard of it before, but I'm trying to remember what it stands for.
Okay, so my husband he's in a technical field, And he is, he's actually an executive now. He's moved up from technician to supervisor manager, and now he's at an executive level. And they have to write SMART goals for each of their different offices. So if your students, let's say they want to gain some technical skills and they want to learn to write SMART goals, okay, and it's specific, measurable, achievable, what is the R? I probably should have done my homework, huh, guys? And then T is timely. So they have to create a timetable for how it occurs. If they train on how to write these, guys, this isn't only going to prepare them to move to the next level of chapter excellence. It's going to prepare them for being a boss one day, for being a manager and a leader in the future. Safety and health. Service orientation. So these are those community service projects you can put in there again. And then professional development, even doing that, like I said, that virtual dinner party where they learn where the food, you know, where the forks go and learn how to tie a tie. And even that could be considered an activity for that. Now, this level is pretty easy because pretty much all you got to do is go through a checklist and then write a title, title what your activity was for each of these, framework components, and then select which of the elements it represented. So that's chapter quality, quality chapter award. So that level is pretty easy. Does anybody have any questions about quality chapter level 1? Mr. Upton, do you have anything you want to add to that? Mr. Upton? Okay.
I'm sorry, I was muted. Sorry.
Okay.
Mr. Lasuto put in the chat, the SMART is a specific, measurable, achievable, relevant. And time bound. Yes.
Thank you. I couldn't remember relevant.
Thank you for putting that. That's good. SMART goals to teach.
And I will say, when I reviewed chapter excellence submissions, this is where they fell super short. Was they didn't know how to write SMART goals. So how smart is it to use an activity where they train on how to write SMART goals in level 1, and then they would be prepared to move on to level 2. So level 2, it's no longer as easy as just saying what, you know, we did this activity and it represented these essential elements. This time, you still are going to have an entry for personal skills, workplace skills, and technical skills, but your description of the activities are going to be a lot more in depth. So for our personal skills, let's say we did the letters for isolation. We're going to write 3 SMART goals for that. It needs to be specific. So, you know, we're going to use to identify 25 senior citizens, and each of our 12 members will write 2 letters by December 20th. Okay, so you're going to make sure that it's got all the components of SMART. So the specific, measurable, attainable, relatable, and it would be relatable to specifically the communication, say, essential element. And then it should have that timely part. That's why I put in that deadline of December 20th. And then you could write 3 other goals, like officers will do this many, what have you. But you're going to have write 3 SMART goals that pertain to one of these essential elements. Oh, communication wasn't on that one. It was the wrong one. My bad. All right. Then they're going to have to report the outcome. So once it's done, did they come up with 25? Did they identify 25 senior citizens? Did they write 15 letters? Did they meet their goal of December 20th? So report on each of the goals, what was accomplished. So they could describe, let's say they describe how what happened. You know, we wrote these letters, and this was the reason why we wrote these letters. We felt like it was good, worth our time. You know, we learned how to communicate, but we also, you know, were able to reach out to people in isolation. So, and this taught us integrity. Okay, so we've done that. Relation to the frameworks, just make sure that you specifically mention which element it covered, and then provide a photo with caption of the activity. So again, it's still just one activity, just like it was in level 1. You just have to describe it in more detail, except for it's not you that should do this. Make your students do this. Again, if in level 1, one of your activities was plan of action writing training, if one of your activities was learning to write SMART goals, you actually facilitated level 2 in level 1. Now that's just me being sneaky, because I like to, you know, I like to get as much as I can out of everything. And then again, you'll have to do that for workplace skills and technical skills. Make your kids do this stuff. If they're doing it, and like Mr. Upton said, and I love that he said that, if your kids are coming in at different times and you've got some kids that are there for 10 minutes before the next, the rest of your kids arrive, hey, they go straight to that computer and start working on that chapter of excellence program during that time, based on what they discussed in their meeting. So again, we went, this one is chapter of distinction. All right. And anybody have any questions about the switch from level 1 to level 2? No. Y'all want? All right. Let's see. All right, so I'm just going to show you one real quick. Okay, so this is a chapter of excellence sample. So again, this is just filling out the top. Here's where you have written in who your officers are. President, your secretary, at least, you and your superintendent. Again, here's your checklist. You've paid your dues. You've paid your professional dues. You've elected officers. You've got attendance at meetings. You've got a budget. Okay. And then you've got your program of work. Okay. All right. Again, on this first level, all you got to say is what you did and what essential elements it applied to. We did this. We learned these essential elements of personal skills. We did a career day. It developed these essential skills. We did this activity. It taught us these essential skills from technical skills. Okay, so then when you move up to level 2, it gets a little bit more intense. So you've done some officer training, such as JLDC, or if we do the local officer training, yes, we did that. Now, these don't necessarily have to be all yes. So you don't have to have done all of this, but it will factor into your application. So there's some other things, you know, you've got at least 3/4 of your students are members. You've had business and industry engaged. You went to fall leadership conference. And then here's again, so again, here's an activity for personal skills. We learned these essential elements of personal skills, but this time you'll notice they've got the 3 SMART goals: 1 SMART goal, 2 SMART goals, 3 SMART goals. Again, they're measurable. It's attainable. Can you really collect 1,000 cans? Yeah, I think you can. They've got a time on here before Thanksgiving. There's your timing. Okay. Is it relatable? Okay. Well, it should be. Self-motivated, work ethic. Your plan of action. Notice that there's dates and something that they're going to do to meet their overall goals. So that's their plan of action. Who's going to do what things, when are they going to accomplish it, and where is it going to occur? Okay, the results, okay? make sure that each individual goal is separately evaluated. Since each of them was specific and measurable and it was on a timetable, you should speak to each part of the SMART goal to say whether it did or did not, was not successful. And then a picture and a caption. So you'll see it's the same thing. And see, now we're going to move to workplace skills. We got our 3 goals. Here's our plan of action. We evaluated each goal separately. We got a picture with a caption. Again, we moved to technical skills, exact same thing. Okay, so again, this is, now if you think about the whole application together, that only describes 6 activities. I know it looks like a lot, but remember, you're not the one that's going to be writing that stuff. You're going to have your students do that. Okay, but it is a good time to teach them how to communicate, check for spelling and grammar. That's also important. So, but that's how that chapter of excellence works. Now, if you get through 2nd level, one thing that you can do there, well, and let me just show y'all this. And I promise I'm almost done. Okay. There's a lot of help out there on how to write it. This even shows you where to click by click. It shows you how to turn in that program. Okay, and where did my little icon go? Right, did you guys see that I just pulled up? Okay, so this shows you click by click how to fill that thing out. By the way, printing this out would also probably make great documentation for your site visit for tape and equip, wouldn't you say, Mr. Upton?
Yes, if you're going to an NCCER review, the level 1 quality chapter is required. That's an NCCER requirement. So it'll also be a tape requirement. So you have to do at least those 6 things. That's the minimum, the quality. And if you do the level 2, it automatically opens the application for Advisor of the Year. Apply to be Advisor of the Year. So you have to go through level 1 and level 2 to qualify to become Advisor of the Year.
So, and if you get to state and you win, that becomes gold. And then if you were to win the gold award, then you could actually move on to, is it Models of Excellence, I think is the 3rd level. And that's where you get the possibility of national recognition. So there's a lot of resources to help you figure out how to do that. But again, I almost feel like it's a dog chasing its tail. It just makes a full turn, because not only you're already going to do these things, you get the kids to do some work to get them engaged and make them leaders of their own organization. It's self-reinforcing. You can use it for your tape review. You can use it for your NCCER review. There's portions of this that, well, you guys aren't automotive, so I won't speak to that. But so there's a lot of ways in which it just continues to reinforce itself. All right, and let's see. All right, there is a little video there that kind of helps, but I'm not going to torch you guys by doing that. One thing I would ask you to do, and this is this is my teacher side of me here, is have the kids go through and evaluate their own application, because students do not, this is an academic skill, truly, is learning how to evaluate yourself based on a rubric. You want these to represent your student's application. Make them self-evaluate where they think they would score. And what you'll find, if you have kids score themselves on anything using a rubric, they will be less forgiving on themselves than you will be on them, which is actually a great way to teach self-reflection. So do that. So again, this is for level 2. You know, do you have a goal written specifically for each of the 3 goals? Did you evaluate each goal separately? Did you say what happened? Did you say what framework component it was related to? Do you have a good photo that has a real caption? And spelling and grammar is so important. Okay. Oh yeah, there's the next one. All right, so this is what Mr. Upton was saying. So level 2, you're eligible for advisor of the year. Now, I personally am a big fan of first-year teachers and early teachers because you're new and hopefully enthusiastic about what you're doing. And I think that new teachers come in with some excellent vigor and some ideas and some excitement about things because you're approaching it and your perspective is so fresh and so new. I'm a big fan of new teachers. And so do not sell yourself short and say there's no way you can do this, because I believe that you can. And you might end up being one of our model of excellence chapters. Like Mr. Upton said, those kids are running that, you're facilitating it. So the more you encourage those kids, the better ideas they get, the closer they're going to be to models of excellence. All right, and so here's my information here. I'm just going to throw that up there. Again, if you have an iPhone, if you turn on your camera like you're going to take a camera and just hold it in front of the computer, you don't have to snap the picture. It will immediately capture that QR, and then you can instantly save my contact information in your phone. That way you don't even have to type it in. Or if you just want to write it down off that picture, you can do that as well. But I'm always here for you, and we're big on helping. Even if, Mr. Upton said, if it's in your book, at least we can kind of remind you of where to look. So that's what we're here for. So I guess I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Upton then. Does anybody have any questions before we switch over? And no, how much longer can this possibly go on is not an acceptable question.
Can you turn the host back over to me?
I'm working on it right now.
Okay, while she's doing that, any questions? Are you overwhelmed?
Mr. Longshore says,
yes. Miss Brown, will you share the link to that that PowerPoint?
Yes, sir. And I'm gonna try to reload it into Google Docs and see if that fixes the shortcoming there.
Okay.
I'll put it. I'll let you guys know in the chat as soon as I get that fixed.
So we have 2 separate PowerPoints, and I just emailed you my PowerPoint, so you can check your email for it. And then Miss Brown has one as well. So let's see. The thing I'm going to cover, we're going to press on. We may finish early. Anybody get upset if we finish early? We may finish early and press on through this. Let's see. I don't see my PowerPoint. Hang on just a second. Oh, that's weird.
I guess we finished really early.
You're not that lucky. Sorry. Well, this is weird. What is going on here? Give me a second to figure this out.
So while Mr. Upton's doing that, so is there any part of that chapter excellence that you think you're thinking maybe, I just don't know that I can do that? Is there any particular part of it that was just scary to you, unattainable? So again,
I don't think it's unattainable. It's just with COVID and all the extras that are being put on our plate as a first-year teacher that we're having to learn.
Right.
We're having to learn to teach kids in a manner that we've never been taught. So it's
absolutely.
We got a lot of struggles. It's just finding the windows to plug in, and being able to plan it properly.
And put it on them though. And like I said, I gave you those 2 slides of ideas. So even if you guys say, Guys, all right, look, guys, let's pick 6 of these things, and we're going to use those, and now let's expand on it. You know, that's a start, and it may be that it takes you a couple years to really create self-sustaining, you know, chapters. I know me personally, I've got to go through it one time before I really feel comfortable with it, and it may be even that if you have somebody that's at your school that is successfully implementing skills, maybe you combine for your Skills USA Day, or maybe you just combine for the first semester and then you start at a new second semester. So having a good model there is good. And even like I said, if you've got a mentor instructor that's not there on your campus, ask them if you guys could zoom in to their student meeting and watch their students do it. So again, I'm big on, I'm good at I'm good at thieving ideas, and I'm better when I've experienced something personally first. So, and I would be happy to come and help you, you know, and meet with your students too. So I
think it's going to be easier once COVID is over.
I know.
I mean, because of that issue is, I mean, even the parents have to wait in the vehicle to pick up a student if they're not feeling good. So it's
right.
Once COVID's over, I think the tools will be a lot easier to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we only have them for 2 days in the classroom for 2 days a week, and not spending enough time in the classroom. If I kill too much time doing all this and NCCER, the students won't sign up next year.
Right. Well, and it may be that maybe those away from school days are your skill days. You use your in-school days as your technical days, and it's your out-of-school days that are your, you know,
right,
PSO day.
Okay, let's move on to the advisory committee. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you? What do you see on your screen? Advisory committee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah.
So I just want to stretch for a minute. Who has an advisory committee? Thumbs up if you have an advisory committee. All right. Who knows what advisory committee is for? Okay, Mr. Lucido, you want to answer?
Your advisory committee, what I've had one in the past, you usually try to get either one of y'all mentioned like the workforce group in your county or your city or whatever.
Alabama Workforce Council.
Yeah, that in your industry, I want to say BIC also, business and industry. It's sort of similar to that, I think.
Yes, yeah, you're right on track. So this is a requirement, is to have an advisory committee. And as a new teacher, it was probably the biggest challenge that I faced, especially my first year, was getting them involved. One thing, they didn't know me, and they didn't know how I taught, and they hadn't seen any of my students. So it's really a big challenge at the beginning. And as I progressed, after I started, my students started getting in the workforce and they started working, then everybody wanted to be on my committee. And then they were jumping in, and I couldn't provide them enough students to meet the demand. You know, I had Brassfield and Gorey come to my back door wanting students to give scholarships or internships to my students. So it is hard at the beginning, but as you teach and as your students start becoming more successful in your community, you'll have a lot more participation in your advisory committee. It is an important role. It's an important part of your program. It justifies your program, for one. Your program is there to provide people training in the workforce. That's why your program's there. So you want people to come in from the community and have an influence on your program. What are they looking for? What skills do they need? What do our graduates need to look like as they walk through my doors or out my doors? So it is very important and very vital part of your program. It's very difficult to get started But once you get your program going and headed in the right direction, you'll start seeing the usefulness a lot more than right now. Right now, you're day to day, and I understand that. So we have a advisory handbook. It is outdated. It's about 6 years old or 8 years old. However, it is a very good resource for starting your advisory committee and continuing your advisory committee. Again, it's one of those things you want to download and put it in a file and open it when you get there, because you may not be there just yet. But I want to give you this resource. These are instructions on how to get there. This is in the PowerPoint that I emailed you. Instructions on how to get there. This is the link right here that you can click on, or actually copy and paste, and it'll go directly to it, and you can download. So from here, I'm going to take this away, and then I'm going to share. How do I de-share? I'm going to.
Up at the top of your Zoom window, under your view options or something. There you go.
There we go. Okay, share stop. Okay, so now I'm going to go to our state website. Again, these instructions are in your PowerPoint. So I'm going to go to www.alsde.edu. alsde.edu. And this gets kind of complicated, but I want to walk you through it. At our state, on the directions, when it says hover, that means just put your finger over it. Don't click any buttons. Just put your finger over it, and it'll bring this drop-down menu. And there's 3 choices here on career technical education. You want the middle one. Get the middle one right there. Click on it. Then over here on the right side where it says resources, you just hover over it. You don't click it. You hover it. Go to Advisory Committee Handbook, and you click on it. Now, when you get there, you'll see these tabs. It goes to, this is architecture, construction, manufacturing info. So you want to go to handbooks.
You got to refresh every time you do a click. Don't forget.
It does, yeah. And then you go to the advisory handbook Word version, and it'll download it. And really, this is about all I'm going to cover on this. It's just a great resource that you can go to when you're talking about advisory committee, establishing it, inviting people to come. It gives you a lot of form letters. Well, can y'all see that, or is that on a different screen?
Handbook for CTE Education Workforce Development.
Yeah, I do see it. Okay, good, because it went from the internet to that anyway. So here it is right here. And I don't know how many pages it is. We'll look at about 22 pages, but it's got already sample agenda made for you. It's just got a lot of preset. It's just a great resource to
Over on the
help
left,
you get started with your advisory committee.
28 pages.
Yeah. So any questions about that, or what the advisory committee is a requirement for your review, your NCCR review, and for your TAPE review, your State Department review. So Ms. Brown, that's all I have. She may have stepped away. You want to cover Schoology real quick? She may have had to step away.
She's muted right now. So.
I'm good. I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. I know that was probably quicker than you expected, but we're
It
running out
was.
of time.
I was actually on the phone with Miss Bruce, and I was like, I gotta go. All right.
We're running out of time, so I just kind of shortened it up.
How much longer do we have?
Technically, we got 20 more minutes.
Okay.
Time for some questions or discussion.
Well, let me just go ahead and tell you that the last part that I was going to do, and I don't actually mind offering this on an individual basis, is work on Schoology, because I know I believe manufacturing and cosmetology have some PLP content built into Schoology that you can use. The instructors that I support, TDL instructors, they have no content whatsoever in Schoology. So everything that they did had to be completely built from the ground up. And I know that that's also the true for architecture and construction. So do you guys just want a 5-minute tour of that, or do you want to do questions? What do you guys think?
Let's do a quick tour of it.
Okay.
Just so they know when they hear that, they know what they're talking about.
Okay. Let me get back to, okay, let me share my screen. All right. Oh, I need you to make me host again, sir.
Guys, use Schoology yet, or Schoology?
Yeah, who, do a thumbs up on who, by the way, if you don't know how to do thumbs up, if you pull your cursor, your mouse towards the bottom, a little tray will pop up, and there's one that says reactions, has a smiley face. If you click on that, it'll give you some emojis. So throw me a sign up if you are using Schoology. Okay, so several people are using it. Okay. All right, so Mr. Upton?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, never mind.
Oh, you need to be host?
I do.
Sorry.
And if there's anything that I show you on here that you would like to borrow, and I'll be happy to join or connect with you through Schoology so that you can sell some of these things. So I'll be happy to do that. All right, let's see. Let me get us on Schoology. All right, here we go.
So y'all know in the future, I think if you make each other a co-host,
Yeah.
then you can share a screen.
And I don't know, Mr. Upton may have set that up before I was even brought into this. Okay, so this is my dashboard on Schoology. There's two things that you need to realize here. There's two tabs that you're up here. There's three kind of entry points. Okay, so you know, you got your front porch, your back porch, and your side door. So you got three here as well. You've got your courses. Okay, you guys probably are well aware of that, because if you're using Schoology, you've already got courses. Were your courses made for you, or did you have to make them yourself? Did your LEA make your course?
We made the course. We made ours ourselves.
You did? Okay. All right. Of course, you got your groups, which if you see anything that you like, I'd be happy to add you to my group. I have actually made, these are all TDL instructors, and I've actually made all of them administrators, so they can borrow Big Bar and Steel through anything through here that they want. And then of course you've got resources, which I equated to your filing cabinet. So I have my personal filing cabinet here. Okay. These things are things that only I can see, which you see I use it a whole lot. And then one thing that took me a second to realize is just because these little buttons are grayed out does not mean they don't work. They are still active. So under resources, I created, I've got group resources. Since I have a TDL group, I have resources. So I have a filing cabinet for my TDL group. And this is where all my resources are, okay? Everything that's on this page here is stuff that I personally created, okay? These are my creations here. Within my, and this might be something if you're getting overwhelmed with organization inside Schoology, this might be something that you might want to consider. What I did here is I have a folder for each of the programs in my cluster area. And what I did is I have a different folder for each of the ASE standards. So my ASE is your NCCER or cosmetology. I'm sorry, I don't know what your originator is, but whatever standards, wherever your standards come from, or maybe your course of study, you know, standard 1, standard 2, I have a folder for each one. So as I come up, as I find resources, I have somewhere to park them. I don't have to go back and find them when it's time for me to build that lesson. Does that make sense? And I will tell you, just setting up these folders, taking a Saturday morning with a cup of coffee and setting up your standard folders is going to save you some heartache along the way. And you'll be so excited when you get down to week 12 and you open up one of these folders and you go, oh my gosh, I already have something in there. Isn't that fantastic? So it'd be like a little early Christmas present. All right, so if I go into courses, I don't like these little pop-ups. These weren't going on last time. So, and I've kind of been playing in here. It's almost like my coloring book at this point. You'll see what I did and what I recommended. Are you guys, is this following? Okay. What I recommended for the instructors that I worked with was that they go ahead in advance and go ahead and make a week blah, blah, blah folder for every week of the school year, or at least every week of the semester. And go ahead and have them there because that's one less thing for you to do.
Where did you do that at?
Okay, so and I'm in my course. I do add materials, add folder, get out of my way. And so what was this Monday, the 14th?
Mm-hmm.
So I could do week of September 14.
Can I add, online, they have, and on their website, they have great tutorials. And
Yes.
YouTube has got some real good. They're slower.
I think I have a whole bank of them. I'll try to find them and send them out to you guys. Another thing that I like is, like I said, if I wanted to go ahead and make these up in advance, well, let's say, what's next Monday? 17th, 18th, 21st? Let's say it. I'm making these in advance. I only want this one to be visible from 9/21. And let's say I only want this to be visible for, let's say, a week and a half. Okay. I can publish it, which means all my students can see it. I can leave it unpublished, publish on the start date. So it's only going to appear to my students on this date, or publish during, oh, you know what? My cubicle friend over there, if you want to come observe while I'm going through this, or publish during the date range. So that's kind of neat because, like I said, if you've already got these folders set up for the whole 9 weeks or the semester, you've kind of got some of the work done in advance. And again, as you find things, how great would it be that as you find things, you can go ahead and have them ready and waiting for you later. So you'll see I left this one unpublished. Okay. When I'm ready to turn it on, let's say I just left it for manual publish. Just publish it, and then my kids can see it. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. I'm going to show you where I have built a lesson for a week. All right. So in this lesson, so my students would know to go to that one because it's labeled with this week's date, right? So what I have done is, this is a air conditioning PowerPoint. So my students could go in here and go through this PowerPoint. This is actually a PowerPoint that one of my instructors uses. I have, this is an AC Delco video that I found online. So, and it's a great little training video, not very long. Then I imported this activity. This is an activity that I made. Okay, so this is a basic teaching strategy that kids are probably using in their academic classes called a 3-2-1 review. So it says first, use full sentences to record 3 concepts you learn. Use full sentences to record 2 concepts you need help with, don't understand, or would like to practice with. Third, use full sentences to record 1 concept you found interesting. Do not respond with I didn't find anything interesting, because left to their own devices, that's what they would all put, right? Now, one thing that you'll notice is you could use that activity for anything. We could have you guys do that right now based on today's lesson. If I gave them a page from a training manual, I could do that. If I had them view a PowerPoint, I could do that. If I had them view a video, I could do that. So or if we just had a class discussion, I could have them do that. So that's me again. I told you, I like to get double duty out of something. I created that activity. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go to the back porch again, okay? I'll go back to my resources. I have this one saved in my transportation, distribution, and logistics file cabinet.
You
That
do
3-2-1
realize you're going
built it.
very fast.
Am I going too fast? Well, I'm trying to get it in.
I already have played with it, but if anybody who hadn't played with it, they're like, what are you doing?
Well, and here's what I'm going to say. Like I said, I'm happy. I would be delighted if you would call me or ask me to come visit with you and help you to do this. I'm excited to help. I'm a little bit of a nerd like that. I guess I should have been in the Girl Scouts when I was little, but
Hey, I would gladly just let you give you admin to my page, and you could just take over and help me.
well, what I can do is let you, I will make you an admin, and look, this is all you have to do. If I put you in my TDL group and you want to say, hey, that's something I could use in my classroom, all you have to do is do this, copy to, and then select your course and copy.
That's pretty easy.
Yes. Or let's say you want to put it, well, that was copy to resources.
It ain't bad at all.
Right,
It's really
yeah.
not.
But see, me, I was like, man, I can't be writing new assignments every week. So I was like, okay, what kind of assignments could I use any day of the week, no matter what I was teaching? What are some assignments I did? So I did the 3-2-1. This one is called a collaborative commentary. So this one is if I put a video out for my kids. Doesn't matter what it's on, review the video, record your narration of the video describing what is happening, why it is necessary, ask questions that engage the audience while using technical vocabulary terms. By the way, literacy and numeracy is part of what you're supposed to be doing for Tape and Equip. If you've got this activity in your lesson plans, boom, you have evidence that you just taught literacy. So let's say, Mr. Longshore, what do you teach?
Carpentry.
Carpentry. Okay, let's say you are, give me a singular skill that you would have to teach.
A singular skill?
Yeah, just give me a skill.
Laying out a wall.
Laying out a wall, okay? You would put a video up there of somebody laying out a wall with no audio. And they need to go, as you can see in the video, the worker is da 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 da. Now he is da 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 da. Why is it necessary to brace the wall? Well, that's necessary, so da 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 da. So they're doing that, and they like making videos. They're obsessed with seeing themselves and hearing themselves. So that's going to be something that they're good with. This one is a student-led word assignment. This is, again, all of these could count as literacy. Use the selection to identify technical vocabulary terms. So you put an article out there, and I would encourage you to use actual industry literature. Maybe it's a Carpentry Today or Aesthetics Today article. Have them, they're supposed to pull up vocabulary terms, write a description of what you think the term means in your words, because kids love to copy because they don't have to think when they copy, right? Make them write it in their words. Then they can go look up the word, okay? That could be used any kind of print material. Cause and effect. Oh, I love this one. I really like this one for my teacher. Oh, I'll get to that in a second. This one, oh, I keep clicking on the, by the way, this icon means rubric. This
So you just
icon,
did all that and you didn't even have to? I mean, you just made yourself a Schoology page just for the fun of it?
I told you I should have been a Girl Scout. So this one says, oh, I love this one. Love this one. I found a neat website that was all about, it was customer complaints for either auto body or engine repair. And I'm sure you guys can find similar things. It says, read the customer complaint, describe the possible causes of the issue. So what my engine was making a, you know, and so the student is going to choose the most likely cause, describe the solution, and then explain why you chose that solution. Use technical vocabulary words. There's your literacy. Be sure to respond in full sentences. There's teaching communication, by the way, and ensure clear communication. So again, and there's some personal workspace skills, workplace skills there as well. Again, you could make up your own complaint. You could do like I did and steal one from the internet. Let's see, and then there's 3, 2, 1. So those things could be used. Seems like there might be another one. Oh, demonstration. Yep, demonstration. This is I keep clicking on the wrong one. Create a video of yourself demonstrating the assigned topic. Be sure to start with an introduction, clearly explain the steps, use the technical vocabulary, and communicate in a customer-friendly manner. Again, so somebody said that they get their students on campus for 2 days a week. 2 days a week, and then 3 days a week, I'm supposed to figure out how to engage them remotely. Okay, well, maybe if you're the masonry instructor, you send them home with a kit of tile and mortar and a trowel. Okay, it's just a kit, right? You're not, maybe you can get the tile back if they're skilled enough to pop it off the wall. I don't know. But anyway, so let's say you send them home with a kit and they're going to record themselves doing that. Okay, and if they can't tell you how to do it and why, it's like my husband. He'll get tips on raising cattle from a friend of his, and I'll go, baby, why would we do that? Well, I don't know. That's just what Levin says they've always done. I said, if you can't explain to me the science behind it, it's a wives' tale, right? So if your students can't explain to you the steps they're doing, and they can't explain to you what they're doing and why they're doing it, right, then they probably didn't learn it when you demonstrated it on Monday. So if Monday and Tuesday you do your direct instruction, Wednesday they go home with their kit of supplies, and then they record themselves and describe what they're doing. Then you get to use that day they're not even with you to do your evaluation. Does that make sense? So you're not even wasting your class time for the evaluation part. You can evaluate that remotely.
Hey, Miss Brown, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we're running out of time. I appreciate what you're saying. We got like 1 minute, so you want to wrap it up in 1 minute?
Sure. So just so you know, so for each one of these, I went through and I made a rubric. Okay, so each one of these, I made a rubric that goes with it because that makes the grading easy. So if I go back to my course real quick.
All that's built into there, so when they grade themselves or do something, but you got to create the assignment yourself.
Right.
So it won't go to the grade book.
Right. And I'd be happy to help you with that. So again, I had them view a PowerPoint, watch a video. They did the 3, 2, 1. That was kind of their engagement. Here's an assessment. I just made questions based off of that the video. So they do their little video, next. I can get 100 on that because I've taken it about 100 times. And then here's an article I put in there, shop safety, what not to do. Oh, YouTube's not being nice today. So that's where I have built a lesson, okay? I've built a lesson. I've got a formative assessments, those are little are they really, are they picking up what I'm laying down? Are they understanding what they're doing? And then I also built in an assessment there. Does that make sense? So
Yes, ma'am.
I've got
Very
my
good.
first instruction with video and PowerPoint. Maybe we also had a Zoom meeting. I've got my assignment. My assignment is attached to a rubric, so it'll help me grade it automatically. And let me just show you one more thing and I'll be done. So right here I had, let's just say this was an article. Well, they did an article, so I'm gonna add, let's see. I'm gonna import from resources.
We need a one of these where we actually do it. Do you know how to do the live thing?
The live thing.
Training live video where we all sign on and onto Schoology.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do it. Hey, we could all just do our own, like building construction. Could get on there one day. We could just make our whole year out.
Yeah, and that's what I've been trying to get mine to do is I have it open so the instructors can not only pull stuff out, but they can put stuff in. And if you can get a good cohort group going, like you said, and it's, hey, I'll do week 1, you do week 2, week 3. If you did that, I mean, imagine how much easier the rest of your year would be. So if you notice,
using the same book and everything, that'd be great. But that's the thing, every school system is a little different, but.
Well, we just need people that's NCCER, you know.
That's what
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt, but our time is up. So if you need to leave, you have permission to go ahead and leave. If you want to hang out in this discussion, please feel free to hang out. We'll discuss it more. But thank y'all for attending. Have a great day. We'll see you next time. But thanks.
Brian, I do have 2 questions.
Yes, sir.
My director wanted me to ask one. He wanted to know if you think that they're going to open the competitions up this year.
We are going to make a decision on districts October 16th, and we'll make a decision on state December 16th. So we have not made those decisions yet.
All right, I'll pass that along. And also, you know, the first semester, the requirement is the core curriculum for NCCER. And in order to teach it or test on it, I have to be certified, and I haven't got I've made no progress on getting NCCER certified. So that's the only thing that I'm required to do this semester, but I can't do it.
Well, yes, sir, you can. Go ahead and start teaching the curriculum. Go ahead and start testing, and then your ICTP will be December 8th through 11th. And after that, you can enter them into the system. Just go ahead and start teaching it.
Okay, where will I gain access to the test?
You can download them.
He's talking about going on NCCER.
They'll give you I had to go in, and even though I'm not certified yet either, I went in and I done this new teacher thing, and they let me. We actually bought it and put it on Schoology at our school.
The NCCER.
Mm-hmm. We bought the books and the test and everything, and downloaded it into Schoology.
You see that?
Okay.
That makes it easy to do this, and I had figured out how to do it myself, but that's another thing. That's something that we do need to, since we're using NCCER core. Their stuff.
I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. Like I said, I mean, everything that I've got, I don't mind sharing, but somebody like Tessa would have to help us, you know.
Well, now we have the textbooks, but you know, the ones who are going to be doing that are the 10th graders, and I'm just going to be honest, that's my biggest group, and that's the one who seems to be the least focused and the least really I don't have their attention. I've had more difficulty getting their attention than I expected to have.
That's your 2x4 students.
I don't really expect that I could hold their attention to go through that textbook the way I would have wanted to go through it myself. But I will. I'm going to put my email address in this chat, and anybody who wants to share with me what they have. I'm teaching electrical technology, and I will be glad to take anything anyone wants to share with me.
So, Mr. Mize, in the chat, you'll see I put NCCER IRC. If you go to NCCER website and you type in IRC, that's the Instructor Resource Center. You'll need to go through, watch videos, and log in, and that's where you're going to get your tests.
Okay.
It's a multiple step. It takes about 2 hours. Just to let you know, it's a multiple step process, and it takes a while. The tests are done by Pearson, and they guard them. So you have to go to IRC, you have to create an account, you have to get an access number, and then you plug in the access number, and then you can get the test. It's a multi-step process where they email you all that stuff.
Okay.
Go to NCCER and type in IRC in the search window and follow those steps.
Okay.
Does anyone else at your school teach NCCER?
That they do, and I've actually asked them. You know, I've asked and asked, and they just keep telling me that I have to get certified and approved, and somebody will be letting me know.
Yeah, we have to do that. I just tell them to give me a test. They have them all.
Okay.
Have you registered for IRC?
No, this is the first I've heard of IRC.
I mean, I'm sorry for not ICTP. Have you registered for that training in December?
No, I haven't. I haven't heard of it. You know, that's what I've been trying to find out about.
Okay, well, shoot me an email and I'll forward you the instructions.
Okay, all right, I'll do it.
I'm not sure I've registered for it. What did you say it was?
Just here, I'm gonna put my email address. Well, okay, there's my email address. Just send me an email, say send me more information on the instructor training, and I'll shoot you those instructions.
It gets confused because we've had to go to so many different this, that, and the other, and you got your personal development and all that stuff, and you forget where you've been and what you got to do. And I even got a what do you call it? I got Post-it notes everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And I write them on my calendar so it dings me, but then I forget. It's just way too much stuff.
Said you guys, you'll survive this year and you will be living legends. So
yeah, hang in there.
I got the best director in the world because he said, look, he said, just do the best you can, and if it don't get better next year, we'll have to do something else.
he said, just don't quit on me. Just don't.
No, he said, just don't quit. You know, he said, we're just going to do the best we can because, I mean, nobody's really showed us how to do anything, told us how to do anything. So he said, we'll just figure it out as we go. He said, just, you know, make sure the kids learn something. So.
Well, now I don't mean to sound like I'm not enjoying it, because I'm enjoying it a lot. But I am, sometimes I feel like I'm.
Oh, it feels like you're fighting a losing battle a lot of days.
Oh.
We say it's like you guys are drinking from a fire hydrant.
Yeah.
That's the analogy we use. We understand. Believe me, we are not unaware that you guys are facing some challenges. So.
And you can make it. I made it. I know you can make it.
Well, it's not, you know, and like here at our school, not just the first year teachers struggling. I mean, all of our guys are struggling pretty bad with just the online stuff.
Well, like I said, I'm more than happy to help you guys. And if like you said, if you want to get a kind of a cohort group of teachers together and build some Schoology stuff, I am more than willing to kind of guide you guys through that process. And like I said, it would be great if you had, and I'm not familiar with y'all's content, but if you, like you said, if you broke it up by, say, standard, kind of like I did with my guys, you know, we did ASE standards, and you know, I mean, I can guide you guys through that process. And if you're all sharing into the same folder, the same resource folder, you could actually populate that pretty quickly. You know, I mean, like I said, so if, and I'm just going to use numbers, but if John's got standard 1 and Elijah's got standard 2 and Mr. Longshore's got standard 3, and everybody goes out and finds a training manual that is relevant to that topic, you know, and you put it in those folders. All right, now everybody go out there and find a training video on that topic. All right, put it in that folder. All right, now everybody get, you know, does that make sense?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you would
did it, but it's all on my old school site.
Right. Well, and that's kind of what I did when I started playing around with Schoology and preparing to help the TDL instructors out. Was I went to one of our, you know, superstar instructors, and he gave me a thumb drive with, you know, a ton of resources on it, some of his stuff, and I just started sorting it into those folders, because like I said, I'm the kind of person that I have to do it myself to understand it, and I kind of had to think through, what if I had to do this year? And some of it is hard, you know, if you have taught in the past. One of the biggest pains is turning things that you've used as, say, a workshop, and turning it into a digital assignment. And it's not that that's difficult, but it's time consuming, you know, and that's kind of where the idea to come up with those generic but highly engaging go-to activities, or that I could drop in anywhere. Because like I said, if each one of you found a training video, you know, for the standard that you guys had dealt out, then every time you showed a training video, you could drop a 3-2-1 in, or you could drop a word list, student-led word list in after it, you know, because it could be used anytime. So if you go ahead and find your resources and you've got those go-to assignments, and the good thing about that is, if the kids do a 3-2-1 one time, then they should understand how to do it every time you throw it out there. If the kids have learned how to do a demonstration video, they should understand what your expectations are for a demonstration video is, no matter what you teach, you know. So using that repetition, there's a fine balance in teaching between mixing it up a little bit, but then also having that constant steadiness, you know, and that familiarity, you know, that routine, really. So and I guess you can mix it up with where they getting that first content from, but then throwing in those consistent reoccurring assignments kind of gives them that comfort to where they understand what's expected of them. So
Miss Brown, I've created a group. I've created an architecture construction group on Schoology. So how do we get these guys signed up to that same group?
Okay, let's see. Where's my Schoology screen? There it is. Okay.
Now the state standards that were put out this year are all in the wrong folder. For like my construction, it's not under architecture, manufacturing. Did y'all notice that by any chance? I know Julie, was it Julie, was talking about that.
I'll be right back.
It's all under the first folder of agri whatever.
Well, because agri-science does have construction standards too, so that's probably what it is.
Yeah, but they were supposed, the framing, and yeah, you're right, it does, but I kept looking in the architecture, construction, and manufacturing folder, and it's got stuff from 2014, 16, and 08, and I'm like, wait a minute, you know, this is, and so I was pulling my hair out until Julie pulled that up just this week. I'm like, well, that's where it is. It's under the wrong folder, you know. So, like I say, I had all this stuff in my Schoology folder, but I no longer have an email address for the school I left, and now I'm getting ready to start with another
You
school.
should be able to merge. You should be able to merge accounts.
Well, you got to get them to do it, and they don't
Right.
really like me right now.
Well, maybe you can get education technology up here to do it though.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get somebody to do it because I had some issues with them, and I didn't want to leave, but they, you know, I asked them for all this stuff, and I don't, you know, way back in May, and they said, well, we'll wait till August the 17th when y'all start school. I said, no, I got to do this now. I can't wait till the last, and then they had us in all this other training, and I just,
yeah.
You know, you've been there before. I've taught before, but this was outrageously. And I said, y'all really, you know, it's like I'm a paraplegic, but they are a one-legged man, and they tie my one leg behind my back and say, all right, you're going to be in this kicking contest.
So, and I don't know if you guys want to take a second and go ahead and log on to Schoology, and you can actually go ahead and do this right now.
I'm in there.
Okay. So if you go to groups.
So I can't log it back. I don't think I can log back in. I made a new thing.
And then go to my groups.
You're in, where you at?
I don't have a group.
Right. So you're going to click right over here. It says join group. Do you have that right there?
Join group.
Should be probably to the far right.
Yeah, you go to, when you first open it up, you go to groups and then join group.
You got to go here first, up here. You won't have anything here at all. So you have to go over to the side. There's tiny little print that says my groups.
Right up under your name.
And then you're going to click join group. And then this is where, so now Mr. Upton, if you're watching, so y'all stay where you are. So Mr. Upton, what you'll do is you'll go into your group, the one that you made.
Join group, is that what you said?
What? Yes. And then Mr. Upton will find his code right here.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to join my group, you can, so that you can pull those basic activities in. So if you want to join them both, you're more than welcome to.
Awesome.
And I tell you what I'll do. I'll just put my code in. I'll put my code in the chat, and then I'll stop sharing and make Mr. Upton the or do you just want to put yours in chat too?
Give us yours. Well, it's a long thing, ain't it? It's a long code.
Whoops.
Okay.
This is what you do with your
It's not very long.
if they have showed you.
If you go to chat, it's in there, or I can call it out, and then Mr. Upton can put his in there too. Did you find it, Mr. Upton?
I'm trying to log in for some reason.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So you have to be in a school district. There's no other format to log in on, right?
Well, I don't know, because I'm not in a school district, so.
But you're on the state district. The state.
So if you go to my groups and you try to click join group, that's not an option for you?
I don't even know if I hadn't tried logging.
Oh, okay. I see it. I see.
Let me see if Schoology, but see, you would have to, as your administrator of your thing,
I am.
Then you would have to make my email address, my whatever I give you, you'd have to make me a member of that group.
Yeah. So there's two different ways, and one of them is giving out your code and clicking the join. And then you'd put that code there. So
Let's see if it lets me. It probably won't let me do it. Let me see.
I'm a member of yours
So I
now.
see I'm not.
okay.
Yeah. I was able to join as well.
So
You gotta have an email that this thing recognizes, and if you put my email address in there, then I can get on there and I got a lot of stuff already there.
So now if I go to members,
You can add me as a student or as a member. Then I could log in. See, my email address has to be in your thing. And
That is so cool.
it really is. When you get in there and play, and you're like, oh, here's this little quick. So,
See, that's where I feel like nothing to y'all, but I feel like that's where a lot of this stuff was mishandled because, or, you know, we didn't have time, and I would have never had time to get it anyway because I'm just not real computer literate. But I mean, teachers and everybody, you know, I mean, they've struggled with it within our school system to be able to do remote learning. I mean, just in the classroom setting.
and it's one of those things where kind of the perspectives are different based on different localities, you know. So some places want the state to come in and provide everything, and then there's some districts that say, well, that's our responsibility, we handle it. And of course we're always cautious to make sure that we don't overstep our boundaries, so we don't force that training out there, right? And but then there's some schools that some districts probably would want us to come in and do all of that for them. So it's a balancing act for us, and, you know, staying in our lane, you know. So and I guess them too. And I understand your frustration, because I kind of had the same discussions this summer, because like I said, you know, my little Girl Scout self, I wanted to get out there and, you know, teach, and and it was hard to do because a lot of the instructors didn't have, like I said, like you said, they didn't even have their Schoology accounts yet.
Right.
So I kind of had to do.
We have career coaches at our career tech, and if it hadn't been for them, I mean, they really know how. I mean, they're very computer savvy,
right?
You know, and they were able to help all of us get set up. But if I knew how to share mine, so I can't share mine with that group, can I?
Yeah, you put it in shared resources.
So you guys would need to. So when Mr. Upton gets you ready, he gets you in there. This is me and one of my colleagues playing around. And see, there's no resources there because there's none have been created. But you guys will be able to, when you do add resources, they'll be specific for you. And like I said, I would highly recommend that the first thing you do is set up a structure for putting this stuff in. And I don't know if that's going to be NCCER standards, if it's going to be, and Mr. Upton probably would have the best suggestion, if it's going to be course of study standards.
The NCCER and the state standards are fairly close in
right, and ours are too. But I don't know if all the do all the architecture and construction programs use NCCER, Brian?
Most of them sit for drafting.
So drafting might need its own folder, you know. So
we have welding.
I can't log in. It won't let me log in.
Okay.
You got to be in your email and then something another. But
by the way, here's I did not put this one in the shared resources because this one is from the skills what am I trying to say? Career Essentials. And since you have to pay for your membership, to get Career Essentials.
Right, you
Didn't
can't
put it in
share
a
it.
shared resource because, you know, I don't want to get in trouble. But I was telling you, once you become a professional member in skills, you've got those ready to go presentations. So this is one of the presentations that's that comes with Career Essentials. To be or not to be honest. Oh, my
Now,
phone.
I noticed it changed it to a PPT-XT.
Yeah.
That's what's in, and see, that's the thing I was telling you about before. I had all my PowerPoints and stuff in PowerPoint. Whenever I tried to put them in there, they sort of crashed and screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
And then especially my documents and stuff. I had my, what do you call it?
Right.
My syllabus and all that, and it just garbled it all up. And then somebody told me, well, you got to put it in a Google Docs. So I'm learning Google programs, schools, and all this garbage. And
Schoology's a lot easier than Google Docs to me, and I've never done either one of them that much, but
right. So this
is a lot easier.
This is one of those Career Essentials that comes from with your membership. So you'll see there's this goes through and it's got some scenarios, you know, there's some it's got activities, objectives, all this stuff. So you got it, you in?
Yeah, I finally got in.
So
I send you my access code.
Yeah, put it in the
put it in chat.
Put it in the chat so they can just copy it. So if you put that out there, let's see, let me go back to Schoology. So if I was building a lesson, so I'm in my course, and let's say we're going to do that on the week of September 21st, and let's say that Friday we're going to do that. If I do add import from resources.
Right, and that's how
there, it's in my resource. I do import. So I could pull that in right there from my Skills USA, my Career Essentials, and all my students will be able to view that PowerPoint.
That's what I did. Is I did everything. I figured it out to build everything in my resources, and then when your classes are set up, you just import it, and boom, it's there.
I would never, and I learned this the hard way. I would never. You can actually create resources from inside your course. So you can create here, like add assignment, add test, but my experience was sometimes it would stay and sometimes it wouldn't. So always build inside your resources. They
didn't tell us that, but I think like you, I figured that out the hard way.
Yeah. The other thing I would tell you, I personally, I don't know why, but there's no Zoom up here in the apps. You can look for apps.
Your district will, some districts you can and some you can't.
And see, there's there's YouTube.
Right,
there's all kinds of stuff in here that you can use if you're familiar with it. Like Quizlet, I'm used to. I used that when I was in the classroom. There's lots of things in here, and especially if you've learned Google, you'll notice there's a bunch of Google apps. One of the apps that I added was Teams, because I don't know why, but my Zoom account started having some serious struggles. And I already have Teams. Our computers up here at the State Department already have Teams, so I didn't even have to create an account. Oh, I've changed my password.
Yeah, we have Teams as well.
Yeah, and
I haven't used it yet because I've got enough to learn.
Well, and let me put your mind at ease. It works the same dang way that Zoom does. So if I wanted to do Friday,
it's a little bit easier than Zoom. I've used similar
Skills USA in the past. And you could set your date and time, create. That's it. You're done. So
yeah, Zoom's a little more complicated than that.
Well, and this is because it's interfacing within the class, you know, so it's done at that point for you.
then you can add invitations and all that and all that.
Well, here, this one isn't. This is very simple. It's very, very simplified for here. But like you'll see, this says TDL tailgate. That's just a meeting I do with my instructors. And so I just pasted that into here on a blank page, and then all they got to do to join was to click there. So I liked it because it was already inside this. And I think like I think some of them I would, oh, here we go. So like, here's one I did. I put join the discussion by 12 o'clock on July 31st. That way the student could immediately see, oh crap, it looks like on the 31st, I've got to be in a meeting. So they would see immediately when they were in that day. So I probably actually would have put this in a folder.
Yeah, that event little thing up there is great. Because I would, like I told you, I had so much going on. I'd forget every time I log in there to do my stuff.
So you see when I clicked move,
Yeah.
I want to do that September 21st. So there's my PowerPoint, and then afterwards, you know, we'll have a discussion or whatever. So now, so I think do you understand how I set up this has nothing, let me just preface this has nothing to do with Schoology. Do you see how I just set up a virtual lesson?
Yeah, I already.
You get what I'm saying? Like there was first instruction, there was, and this is a teacher word, a formative assessment, meaning it's along the way, just to check to see what they know. There was a summative assessment, as in summary, meaning at the end, right? That I could give them like, you should know it by now, I'm gonna hard grade you on that. So it was all built in there. Now I probably would have had a Zoom meeting in there, or maybe a live class day was in there somewhere, but I've got first instructions, formative assessment, summative assessment in there. So I did all that kind of steps of teaching and learning in there. If you go to resources, and again, I would do, Mr. Upton, did you get your thing in the?
Yeah, he got it in there.
The chat, yeah.
All right, so.
Check the chat, you'll see I got.
Okay, I just got so many screens up, I can't.
Yeah.
Let's see. I can't, it won't let me do.
I want to see what y'all see.
Well, what do you mean you want to see?
There is student view and then other view in there too. So
Like I have stuff uploaded. I want to see where it is on their screen. Yeah, see,
One of them,
what I did is I uploaded the Schoology provided some lesson plans, and those are just canned lesson plans.
Look at Mr. Gilbert.
Yeah, in the academic. Yeah, I just wanted to see if y'all could see those.
Yeah.
Those are pretty good resources on the academic side, not the construction side. We have to add the ones or upload the ones for the construction.
Can somebody read me his code real quick, just so I can?
8F-F 297-M9CJQ. Is that right?
Look right.
Yeah, I'm dyslexic, so I'm not deciding, but trying to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Right.
See
Yeah,
there.
that's on there.
All right, so that's in the group, and if I click resources, you can get to resources either on the side menu or on the top menu. So this is content. Look, and I'm gonna tell y'all, I got a little confused by this PLP content, probably because I didn't create it.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then I did find some stuff in some of the other areas that I pulled into my program, but be careful copying those tests and stuff in there, because any of their assessments, if you don't recreate it in your folder, their grades are not going to go to you. I found that out the hard way. You understood what I meant by that, didn't you, Ms. Brown?
Yeah, you got to set it up with your
under your
group.
Do it in your resources or in your folder, because the military guys were cutting and pasting stuff in there, and when they went to do it, I said, y'all better try that out. Some
Yeah.
guy, one of their
Drive
buddies.
that car before you buy it.
Oh, Brian,
Yes.
do this. Now, once you're in that group, go to members. And then by my name,
Yeah, you got to make them a
make me an administrator over here. I was like, where's my add resource button?
It doesn't show me on there, and I'm on there. I thought.
There's Elijah and Christopher are in there now.
Yeah. Is that?
Am I in there now?
She meant to refresh or something. Well, no, if you're showing,
Oh, I'm out. I'm out of there now. I'm not even in it now.
Got evicted.
you might have been in this is Mr. Upton's.
Well, I was in his too.
Oh,
Brian, do you see it?
Yeah, I see your name. Now, what make you mad admin?
Yes.
make
And
all
you
your
can add
teachers
as many admins. It won't, it's not like this Zoom call. It won't kick you off of admin. It just
gives you more privileges.
Did you make all your teachers admin?
yes, I did. So if I go to
You can make
resources.
them there's another one you can do too that gives them.
Yeah, it is. So now that I'm in there, again, I would not create anything at all in your course. You can, but I wouldn't do it. So if you do add resource, we'll just kind of go down some of these things.
It's just like any other folder structure. What I did is I had a folder and I had a master folder for like each semester. Semester one, and then since we had block scheduled, depending on where you're at your school, we had one full credit, so every credit was a big folder. Then in that folder, I made more folders, like you were talking about each week. And I found that just like the easiest way to do it, because I did it by week and I did it by because the what do you call them, the not quality points, but the state guidelines, your learning points or whatever you call them. You know what I'm talking about. My brain just went dead. I had those in one folder, and then I chopped those up into the weeks. Y'all know what I'm talking about, don't you?
All right, so I'm making another template. So what a template is like the 321, the student-led word list. This is a generic template that you could use for anything. So I just made up another one that says design a skills manual, because I think there's a similar Skills USA leadership competition, or at least it used to be one. So
and then it's allowed you to make your own little grading rubric, which is cool. I like that button too.
Making inappropriate technical vocabulary. Write in a way that a customer could follow these steps. So no matter what skill you're teaching, you could throw that in here. One of the things that you can do, you can adjust this any way you want to. What I told my instructors is, if you're going to borrow my templates, copy them over to your folder before you adjust them, right? So that's, if I've got mine set to 100, wait till you transfer it over if you want to make it 10 or 15 or whatever. There's no rubric yet. I'll show you all that in a second. I don't know about the line objectives. I haven't done that. I'm guessing since it's CTE, we don't have that. Yeah, we don't need all that.
It just helps you.
Resource type. All right. So you can choose this. I don't think we need that either. I don't think we need any of that. All right. So then we could do create a new rubric. This is pretty neat. So what are the type of, so if a student was going to build a skills manual, what would you give them points for? So let's say title. That's a big thing when teachers are teaching graphing, is for students to use a title. So let's say we're going to give them, we're going to say they were excellent if they did a well constructed title. And then you could either leave it at these kind of scores, or we could give them 4 points if it's a well-constructed title. We could give them 3 points if it's a.
This is our grading rubric, or their self-grading rubric?
This is one I'm actually making inside the activity. So we'll give them 3 if it's a complete title, but it's maybe not the best constructed. Weak title. Woo, we try to use the same font. We'll give them 2 points. I guess I didn't need those numbers.
The numbers are down below.
Numbers probably would have stayed there. That's fine. All right, and then this would be no title. I just made something simple, okay? And then let's see, then we need to add a criteria. Let's see, number of steps. Gave, let's see, more than enough steps. Gave minimal. Well, minimal's too.
That's right, like Goldilocks.
Yeah. Gave less than needed steps.
Too little. Or whatever, yeah.
And then I like, oh, if I put it in there, I like to have a thing. So I would do like use of full sentences.
Right, spelling and grammar.
Yeah, and you could do spelling and grammar would be fine. So, well, by the way, if you put this in here, it's literacy standards.
Right. Now, a lot of the guys that hadn't talked before, what she's talking about, if you didn't know, that there's our core, and then there's what we know when you think of reading, writing, arithmetic, the old-fashioned core.
Yeah.
That's what, when they're talking about these other standards where you're incorporating their writing skills, reading skills, comprehension, and all that. It looks real, you gotta have all that stuff in your lesson plans and all that stuff.
What did I say? What did I call this? Write skills.
I don't remember.
What did I say? Manual.
Yeah. All right, that was a how to do something.
Well, I gotta go. Hopefully we might could do this again sometime.
Yeah, email me, call me if you need help, especially if you're able to get like a group of people together and you can work together. That'd be fantastic.
All right. Well, we appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. Let me know if I can help as well. Get my
Okay, I'm gonna
contact.
send you an email about the NCCR thing.
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Did Miss Brown go, or is she still there?
I'm here.
Oh, can you add me as any email, or how do I get a link in there so I can?
I'm trying to figure out why this thing's not letting me.
Create it.
Maybe let's see, 4.
Yeah, you got to put your. Well, I didn't think that. Oh, you just deleted it.
Anyway, we'll cancel.
That's what I.
Get rid of that.
All that typing I did, like.
I created them and saved them because that way you can always add them to. Let's see, another one. Is anybody still interested in going? Because I don't want to keep going and y'all stay even for my sympathy.
No, I'm about learned out today.
Well, then I guess it's up to Mr. Shook.
What you're doing is good.
I've learned a lot. Yeah, I've learned a lot. It's been a great lesson today.
Well, like I said, I'm here. I can't help you out with NCCER, construction, or architecture, but I can help you with Schoology, and I can help you with ideas on how to create a lesson for it. So
I left
That's
my,
the whole thing with me, is I know welding. I've done it my whole
right,
life, and I want these kids to learn. I need to learn how to take and put their lesson plans together to where I told them, I said, once we learn this together, me and them, they can do this at home, and then when we're at school, we can spend more time in the shop and less time on the computer.
that's right, that's right.
And
Yes, that is a great plan.
it
That's what
frees
I
us
would
up.
do if I were in the classroom.
Yes.
That's exactly it.
Actually, the instructor I replaced is now teaching at LBWCC, and that's what he's doing with his Canvas there. The students are doing their assignments at home. That way, they're spending
That's
the
right.
max amount of time in the shop. So I've
Yeah.
just got to get it to where I need to learn enough to where I'm not failing them, because I'm one of those types. I don't want somebody waiting on me, so I'm kind of crash
Right.
coursing
Now,
myself.
like, if he's doing that at and you're both enrolled, you know, your students are co-enrolled or whatever. See if he'll give you access to what he's doing,
Yes.
because you can do the same thing.
Well, I've got him and one other high school teacher that's also got dual enrollment and she's been helping me greatly with getting the Canvas thing rolled out, because I'm trying to make sure I get that first with the dual enrollment college students, and then I'm going to kind of bring in, hopefully use a lot of that knowledge with my Schoology as well. And I'm hoping to get more students into the dual enrollment. I told them, if you're going to be welding, you might as well get college credits for it.
Right.
Whether you go when you first graduate, or if you wait 3 or 4 years, you still got those college credits.
Yeah, you're burning 2 candles at the same time, or both ends.
Exactly.
Right.
Just maximize what you get. But I knew need to go myself. We had to hurt that storm last night. We spent last night digging blocks out of a bank and trying to save the dam of our fish pond, which is also our driveway.
Oh,
But,
great.
I've got about half a driveway left where I go out onto the county road that was literally a river yesterday, and I think I've got enough to get out to make it to school tomorrow. So I've got some preparations to make sure I can, so I know I can be there for the students in the morning.
That's the tough part about being a teacher. It's not like calling into work anymore. You know, you got
Well,
young
I worked
people.
offshore 18 years. I did
Yeah.
18 years offshore. You're either at work or you're at home.
That's true. That's true. There's no faking sick.
I do enjoy sleeping in my own bed. Yes.
Well, again, I'm here to help. And so y'all just let me know if even if it's a quick question, just give me a call or an email. Like I said, Mr. Upton had to be your construction daddy, but I can at least be your Schoology friend.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Y'all have a good night.
All right. I left but
All right,
2 emails and
Bye.
to play with Miss Brown.